And we're back after the very short break. Welcome back to the 2026 Asian Games Esports Qualifiers PUBG Mobile Asian Games version with me, Choo Choo, and we join by FaZe on the casting desk. It's an honor and a pleasure, bro. I get to cast with you. Wow.
Stop that. Stop that. Enough. Yeah, it's gonna be my first time officially casting some PUBG Mobile. So I'm super excited here for not just us but also the viewers. You know, these guys, the players on the server right now are playing for their nations, for a slot to make their way to the Asia Games in Japan. So that is going to be super awesome, and I hope you guys at home are going to be rallying behind your countrymen and cheering for them, and you know, just uniting here as a nation here to support your players. But yeah, this is the qualifiers, and so far, just looking at the first two maps, it has been action packed, especially for the host nation of Vietnam. First and second place finish with so many eliminations as well, and they are just racking up the points right now at 36 points is incredible.
You know, there's a saying in the Battle Royale that you don't praise a team too much.
Wow. A little bit too much glazing there. My bad.
I mean, it's Battle Royale. Anything can actually happen in the game, especially with the circles, so unpredictable. But just now, I personally, this is my own dream lineup. Especially, we do have Haikal, which called Yummy, his IG, and the normal IGN called Yummy, and we have Jeremy, aka Rosemary, one of the best Terminator and player when it comes to Southeast Asia, probably arguably also at the world stage as well. But not just that, to have Potato, I think Potato aka Shaman is actually the IGL. I think that's going to be a perfect lineup for this, and they just starting up the engine here, and they show what a turnaround compared to their first map to the second map. When it comes to the first time you're facing against this team that you never met before, with the different everybody fought against each other when it comes to regional qualifiers or during the professional league stage qualifiers, right? When you are representing your club. But when you are representing your nation, it's a mix and match from different clubs. And it's so hard to call out their rotation because everybody's trying to relearn the game with the, you know, sort of a new teammate. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know, with the amount of experience that these guys have, you know, I'm sure when they play at a high level, play with each other, so there's definitely a little bit of chemistry there already. But obviously, definitely different strats, of course. Maybe they might butt heads, you know, as maybe there might be two IGNs all of a sudden in a team where they have to kind of bow down to one guy. So it's interesting to see, but it's definitely working out here for Indonesia. You know, being able to go from the bottom spot in that first game, you know, not really achieving too much, but jumping and slingshotting their way to second place. And here we have Team Jordan so far not looking too great here in the first two maps, but as you said, it's a battle royale. You know, it really comes down to how those circles kind of turn out and whether or not you are in a favored position. And so far, Jordan, you know, they still got time to heat up because there are still 4 maps remaining.
Yeah, but when it comes to the 4 years ago, that's going to be the 19th Asian Games. They played themselves, not really the best spot down there. Hopefully, it's not going to be a repeat of their history once more when it comes to the 20th Asian Games Qualifier this time. They have to make a different outcome. And like, imagine that you've waited another 4 years to compete the qualifiers for Asian Games. Imagine if you happen to be stuck around the same result again. Now that's going to be devastating for the players. So that's why it's super important for you guys in the chat to cheer and give your best support and rally behind your national team, because it actually gives them so much how do I say, so much motivation and drive to actually it's a total game changer if you guys actually cheer up for your national teams. But when it comes to the team Saudi Arabia, I love how they actually played today. But when it comes to strategy and rotation, we do see there's some aspect that can polish it down, because we can see timing wise during the shift of the circle, it seems like a bit of your time seems to be slightly off compared to the teams that always be presented themselves in the top 4 in the last few circles. But we do have a head-to-head between very good players, both coming up from Team Vietnam. This is Pratama, aka Zeta, also one of the best Terminator in Southeast Asia. Arguably, this is actually a very good comparison between these two players.
Yeah, I was looking at the final circle of that previous map. Bao's, pose, even though he was the last player from the Vietnamese squad. He was in what, a one versus 2 situation, managed to take down one of the Thai players. There was one more driving across with the car, and he was just able to mow him down with ease before he got taken out himself, before Indonesia was able to. It just shows the incredible mechanical skill that these guys have in the server, and they are not to be messed around with at all. You cannot give them a little bit of hope, a little bit of a chance, because when it comes to those chances, they will take it and they will try their best to eliminate you.
Oh yeah, they're very, very good at taking opportunity. I agree. And the thing is, it's not just about how great as individual technicalities in the game, but how can you be so calm despite being surrounded by so many players and just casually swings for another elimination, just casually doing that, making it look so easy. I mean, you're probably going to be, you are one of pro players as well. You've been in the kind of a shooting game quite a bit, but for me, my hands are probably going to be shaking and I couldn't target anybody at that point. I mean, that's the difference. That's why I'm still here talking and they are playing. That's a huge reason for that. But we're going to head over to the same rank of map. Will things change? We'll be the same team at the top 4. Not less. Head into our third map of the day.
Vietnam sitting on top right now, followed closely by Indonesia. This is going to be our third map. Can any of these other regions come close to these two? Flight path from the top of the map down towards the bottom, towards SMB. We can already see a couple of these teams jumping up very early on here. Tajikistan looking to get as much loot as possible early on. Very, very spread out. It's going to be mostly towards the western side here for these players, especially with this flight path. It's going to be tough to see where this circle ends up as well. If it's towards the right side of the map, towards the east, towards the north, it's going to be a little bit tough here. But man, look at the views. Look, you can see he is just admiring the Asian Games Edition map here, and it's just beautiful. Shout outs here to the devs, to the production team for having this set up.
Yep, the graphics team and the production team is just amazing. With a lot of information that we didn't get during the professional league stage being presented here. So, like example, the teams that have been stayed out in the circle, stay out of the circle for how long? We don't have that, and this time we do have it. But this time, speaking of the circle, if I do want to see where the team tie still around the jogger. Oh, they swap with due to KSA or Team Saudi Arabia early on the first map, it forces the Team Thai to actually switch over to around school area. And because of that, this might be in their circle if they actually did not switch over to the other side of the map. So apparently whoever actually can defend Jogopol as much as they can, in this case it's going to be Tajikistan. This is
they are just taking down players here with ease, making it look so easy. A drive-by. Can Turkmenistan stay alive here? Chappie doing his best to kind of just stay out of trouble, trying to find on whether or not he's going to be able to. He's going to be the one to be able to take him out, but no, they just rush him. Big plays here, moving together as a SWAT team. Champions here so far.
wow.
Them in the top spot, and they are just moving around like. Okay, moving on to the next team. You know, that's how it is.
I know, it's like so disciplined. They know exactly what to do. It's super clean, not wasting even a fraction of a second. And the other team should be scared right now because they are on a hunt to get all those teams to be bulldozed back to the lobby as fast as they can. We're talking about Team Saudi Arabia seems to be the one that seems to be very productive in the first map. But I feel like they sort of being tamed down with how Team Vietnam just seems to be all over the map whenever they want to go. There's no stopping these guys. And the thing is, it's so difficult to read out their rotation because they've been changing their drop spot depending on the flight path in the circle as well. So it's hard to predict whether they will pass by certain teams or not around stage 2 or 3.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it just feels bad for Turkmenistan. You know, they've only got 1 point here. They're trying their best to kind of stay alive, and that's what I realize about a few of these regions. You know, we've got Sri Lanka, we got Tajikistan, Turkmenistan. You know, they tend to play a little bit more passive. You know, wait for the zone, stay out of trouble, stay out of fights. But when you've got a region like Vietnam, who's just kind of driving around and finding you, hunting these kills, these eliminations, they just make it look easy. You know, they come in, pick up 2 elimination points, move out. You know, it's small. It's just it sounds like it's not much, but you know, these points do add up over time.
It actually has a big impact, and it will affect like a what you call it, the butterfly effect or dynamo effect.
Yes,
was it? Yeah. There you go. The thing is, this is the issue we talked about before. Do you play waiting game or do you play aggressively like this? Because yes, it's great that Team Vietnam trying to rotate around, try to take all those eliminations as much as they can, but a lot at stake as well. If they recklessly doing that multiple times, that teams start to read out the way they rotate and kind of know who to find first around the off angle, wouldn't it actually put a stop to, you know, it's too much at risk as well, the way they actually play. It looks easy, the way they deliver it from Team Vietnam. I know. But how do you overcome the doubt in your mind that I might make a mistake if I try to go big like how Team Vietnam is doing? How did they actually overcome those doubts?
You just have to have full-on belief in yourself, and you know, as you're flying down from the plane itself, you kind of have a scope on where the rest of these teams are landing, where's the possibilities of where they could be hiding. You know, there's just so many different variables that they take into account. I'm sure Team Vietnam, they're not, as much as they want to go for these fights, these eliminations, there are times where they have to kind of hold it out. They have to be patient because they know for a fact that anybody could be in this building at any point. But this is all being kind of planned and thought out in milliseconds in their genius brains, you know, and that's why they're on top, because I'm sure it's not every time they want to go for these fights, even though they have the mechanical skills to go for it.
The fact that they did not try to tail down the rest of Turkmenistan's players just now, which left with only 2 of them, and quite heavy casualty on their side as well. It just shows how much discipline they actually have. It's not too reckless to the point that they will willingly give away their body freely to be shot at in the open, right? So they're not doing that right now. But the thing is, Would you prefer teams to play like Team Vietnam? There's high chance if everybody's thinking the same way now, like it or not, there'll be have early eruptions between the team. But if you're playing a bit more conservative, at least you still have some point in the back. There's chances that you might not get any eliminations, but at least there are some contributions by the end of the day, which I think that's going to be the case for most of the teams at the bottom right now.
Yeah, I mean, we saw there was the region of Sri Lanka, time and time again, they were able to get a decent amount of points due to staying alive. But the fact that they were not able to kind of get those elimination points up, they're down here on the 8th point. I think there was probably the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Yeah, they didn't finish really at the top spots, but the fact that they were able to kind of rack up kills, and right now they're on the 5th spot. They've racked up 14 points, and most of these are from elimination. So you kind of see the pros and cons are there. But if you're unable to kind of clutch it out in that final circle and pick up as many points as you can from the eliminations, then it's going to be tough for you. You're going to be kind of trailing here in the scoreboard.
Speaking of trailing and the scoreboard itself, I mean, I wouldn't mind getting whoever's at the top 3. It don't really matter right now because we do know only 6 slots available for the grand final. Sorry, for the finals, which could be the day after tomorrow, this Sunday. And right now, the point between Kyrgyzstan and as well as Thailand seems to be too close for comfort. The same goes. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the borderline. They have to make sure they open up the margin. But right now, the margin seems to be a bit stretched out between the 1st and 2nd place, not the 6th to the 7th place. But we do have a different circle, entirely different one. And this time it's going to be the Gakha Mountains. Oh, this is going to be huge. The Gakha fields and around the mountains will be a very highly congested place anytime now. I do know Saudi Arabia team seems to be very interested to go there. Same goes for Team Philippines. Everybody moving in the same direction with the same idea.
Yeah, you need to get a hold of the high ground as soon as possible. We saw what that high ground did for Vietnam on that first map, being able to use those vantage points, being able to kind of see your opponents before they're able to see you, and kind of just chuck all those utilities out on towards them. So instantly, as soon as the zone pops up, they just start heading in towards their vehicles, start making their way towards that top of that mountain. But right now, so far, tons of damage actually being done on towards Kazakhstan. So I'm not sure exactly what is going on there. Who are they fighting?
They're fighting against the cannot be shut down the blue zone, I think.
Oh, probably, man. They were probably just
you don't want to fight
driving
against
around,
the blue zone. Yeah, I know. I think they try to loot up as much as they can because this is quite sort of a generous circle where everybody can get into in every different angle. I think that's just going to be saying hello and goodbye between Team Philippines. Never mind, it's Team Vietnam we're talking about.
Goodness.
It's Team Vietnam they're passing by. And they will not let even a fly to pass through unharmed for Team Vietnam right now. They definitely will try to take them down as much as they can. And look at how Bo's going straight up the Gakha mountain. Got some information. There are a couple of teams here. He spotted out their buggies. They know there's some vehicles in between the creeks of the mountain. So they will try to slowly engage. But they can actually go for a retreat if they want and try to wait the other teams try to climb up this mountain instead as well.
Yeah, they've got to be smart now, Vietnam. They know for a fact that other players have already made their way up towards the mountains. They will have the better field of view, the better vision across the lands. Bose has tucked himself quite close to this mountain, so he's got to be very careful of his positioning. And oh man, Philippines just take control at the top. This is going to be a very comfortable position here for them, especially with this 6x scope on the M4, if I'm not mistaken. He should just be able to kind of just mow players down from a long range. Very, very comfortable spot here for Philippines.
But from my experience, a lot of players will try to avoid the Gakha Mountains, knowing that there are teams already sort of capitalized that area right now. They try to avoid to just, pass by or whatever. But unless the circle will force the player to go in there, like it or not, they have to go through that. But it's still inside of the circle. And it's an open field of Gakha down south as well. Look at how Kyrgyzstan will probably will engage with Team Thailand moments waiting at the edge. Team Hong Kong China is also around the corner. Just around the foot of the mountain, we do have Team Jordan joining in, but Team Vietnam, eyes locked on Team Vietnam and Team Indonesia right now. Seems to be having a huge clash between the top teams.
It's going to be good. If one of these top teams can get taken out, then that's going to allow one of the teams at the bottom to kind of slingshot their way to the top as well. Still chances here available for Turkmenistan. They are down to 2 players, but if they can play it smart, if they can find those eliminations from downtown, from long range, or even play with a circle, you know, these points do add up eventually. We'll see how it goes here for them, but so far everybody in vehicles trying to find the best position available here for them.
Siami, aka real name High Goddess, goes Rosemary, spot out Red Lake. It seems like Turkmenistan down to only 1 player. This is not good news for them.
That is tough.
Barely got any progress for their points as well. I think they really have to go back to the drawing board and try to change their tempo here, because it didn't work out for them to play it safe. They definitely cannot go with this strategy anymore. They have to swap it out, because there's only like 3 more maps to go for them, and that's it. That's for the entirety of the tournament. If they couldn't actually make progress out of this,
they've been playing it safe. I mean, if I was from 7th place to down to the 12th place in terms of the leaderboard here, I would be kind of worried, and I'm sure these guys are. Something has to be played differently, and from the 7th down to the 12th, these are the teams that you don't normally see get into these fights. So I think they kind of just have to start hunting for these eliminations, start farming those points over time, and you just can't be the one being hunted instead, you know.
That's the thing. Sometimes you try to change things, but it just didn't work out.
Yeah,
it feels like they're hitting a wall. Yeah. I mean, everybody said consistency is super important, but nothing is consistent in a battle royale game. The circle changes, the flight path changes, the drop spot changes, everything changed. There's no consistency in all the elements around it, around that consistency itself. On the side of Sri Lanka, I agree from the chat as well. They need more eliminations if they were to catch up to the 6th place, because we do know to be the safest benchmark, if they can finish off around the middle pack, they still have a shot to get into the finals for the top 6 slot here, and it's still doable for Team Sri Lanka. But if anybody can shut down on Team Vietnam, that will be a huge advantage for all the other 11 teams down there, because they are literally gatekeeping everybody else from getting those points, as long as Team Vietnam's still in this game.
Exactly. If they're able to shut them down, you know, there's definitely a chance here. But now, circle has kind of made its way towards the center of the map. Philippines still very comfortable towards the top of those mountains, but they do have to worry about Kazakhstan, who are lurking very, very nearby. Hold on a second. Might actually have a fight between Sri Lanka and Kazakhstan team here. We'll see how it goes. And oh, look at Tajikistan, slowly lurking up the mountain, slowly trying to backdoor the likes of the Philippines.
They know.
Yeah, and they are completely aware. They do not want anybody else on their mountains. Philippines, they've claimed it first. Will they be able to stay here on top of the hill and claim themselves as kings of the hill?
I don't think Tajikistan can actually even pick out for a bit. They got quite an angle here on the side of Team Philippines.
Oh, yeah.
Unless if they pop themselves a couple of smokes there just to confuse the players of Team Philippines, that's doable. But I don't think it's worth to invest.
Knocked one of the players down here from Tajikistan, looking for more, and these utilities just doing so much damage. You can see they just so much damage. You can see they just weren't even able to spot any of these players towards the top of the hill, and that's how strong this vantage point is. They do manage to pick themselves up. Can they find it? Can they close things out? Isma, oh, Maisie gets actually a big knock on it towards Baldove. A chance for the side of Tajikistan.
Oh boy. I thought Philippines had it before, but never mind. Vietnam just arrived.
Vietnam.
Oh, it's speaking of timing, they were somewhere else just now. They were at the foot of the mountain. The moment they heard those shots just now, immediately they are directing their course straight towards the back. Back into on top of these mountains. Tajikistan as well, Team Philippines, all seems to be backing off. Nope, we don't want to fight you. You guys got plenty of points already. They are the only teams with 4 eliminations right now. Enough to get into the entire team, but when it comes to tops, those hand grenades is just remarkable. He knows exactly those angles to hit them hard and keep it going. But here comes another shot coming into. What can they do at this point? Do they have those utilities for Tajikistan to just recounter this fight?
Man, it's like I'm watching the NBA here. It's just filled with the professionals from the Vietnam throwing these Kobe's all across the board, just making it look so easy. We saw Philippines at the top of that mountain early on, and now they just get taken down to 1 remaining member. It is just insane, but very, very well played there coming in from Vietnam. But now, changing things up, we've got Sri Lanka in a bit of a pickle. 2 of these players stuck inside this small little house, getting just nades thrown in, nowhere to run, incredibly low. Do they have the meds to stay alive? That is the question.
Oh, but is it worth it to fight outside of circle right now? And Kazakhstan seems to be just passing by. I mean, they can get kicked from the inner side of the circle and still away from those long shots. They can actually do that, and they are planning to do so. They are planning to actually pull over and just take down both teams at the same time. It might be a lose-lose team for both side of Kyrgyzstan as well as who's they fighting against? Kazakhstan in this state and Sri Lanka. 3 teams. Well, there you go. Sri Lanka down into one corner. Perfect. Doesn't seem to be in a perfect mode right now. And just immediately annihilated at that point.
Points though for Kyrgyzstan. That's 3 eliminations already, so slowly they're farming up those points, but they've got to be careful because we saw earlier Kazakhstan was moving as a unit, 4 different vehicles kind of just making their way towards the zone, and that's a good shot there by Joker. Shuts down one of the Indonesians here. Slowly racking up those points. It is tough. This is where things get a little bit dicey, and you can see the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Prestige just by himself, trying to make his way out of this difficult position. Nades being thrown, big amount of damage already done towards Lezo. The rest of the squad should be able to kind of help assist, and yes, they do.
Seems like they're all mushed up together. But for Saudi Arabia, Team Saudi Arabia, Muri have to do something about this. They still have to push themselves in entry into the circle, which seems to be blocked by a lot of teams. But unfortunately for Team Vietnam, they're not showing any sign of slowing down. They got on top of 8 eliminations right now. This is not the main event yet. But look at this, the margin between the first and second places is huge.
It is insane. You know, we've got a couple of teams, a couple of regions already waiting in the main event. China, South Korea, Chinese Taipei, Japan. They must be watching this, and I'm sure they are shaking in their boots if they were to go up against Vietnam. Big kill though coming in from Kazakhstan. They do find out Zerich with those nades. Will they be able to finish him off? That is the question. Teammate does come in to kind of heal him up. They're down but not out just yet. But they are in a bit of a tough spot, being surrounded by the Kyrgyzstan players. They only have 1 player alive here for Kyrgyzstan. Can he make it work? Oh no.
Vietnam is still in action, man. They taking those long shots as a third party. Even though it's Kazakhstan versus Team Kyrgyzstan right now, but the ones winning is going to be Team Vietnam shooting from afar. And speaking of Team Kyrgyzstan, will be just that collateral damage coming up from 3TN. Finish off Kazakhstan. Team Kazakhstan can go for recuperation, but there's not going to be enough time because they do have a lot of gatekeepers to go against, including Team Hong Kong, China. But next up target, Team Saudi versus Team Jordan. Seems like both teams, it's going to be a 3v4. Team Jordan seems to be a bit more healthier than Team Saudi Arabia right now. And I hate to break it, but Team Saudi Arabia do have a bit of a tough spot to get into the circle unless if they use their vehicle to go up north all the way, longer rotation, but it might be a bit dicey because stage 6 blue zone is going to be super painful already by now.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they have the vehicles available or if they can even make it out of there alive, because it's ID7, he's got the AUG in his hands. He can definitely spray them down. But the thing is, even if KSA were able to kind of stop the Team Jordan from getting out of this tough position, if they were able to shut them down, how about themselves? They're in a bad spot themselves, and oh my goodness, Prestige. Pixel so perfect shooting, just so good. Do manage to knock down one, and of course.
No. But Win is winning again. We talked about Team Jordan get attacked from behind, but the one in the front is going to be Team Vietnam. But they're running low that ammunition right now. Look at Tops and the rest of Team Vietnam. Their rifles barely got enough. You got no more ammunition there, Win. He got the only thing he got left is going to be the S12K. It just shows how much work they've been putting into with 12 eliminations right now. We're down to 5 teams. But Prestige will try to challenge the Titans. Yeah, the number 1 team right now up front. He can actually do this. Will Team Saudi Arabia finally putting a stop for this crazy run of Team Vietnam that non-stop getting themselves these points right now?
Oh man, he's on the prowl right now. Prestige, he hears the engine running. He hears the players being picked up. He does have a decent amount of nades. That's his last nade, and it does a big amount of damage on towards Zeus. Can they get the 2v1 on towards him? And oh, he does manage to take down Valve. Looking for more, looking to shut down the Vietnamese squad, but no, it does not work out. Tops is still alive. And the teammate here for the Saudi Arabian team, just nowhere close. Top should be able to get the revive here. Can ID7 make it there in time to finish things off?
Oh, he doesn't have any troubles as well. If only he can actually pop even one smoke, it would be very helpful to the side of Team Saudi Arabia, especially Prestige is going to be their best player there. Unfortunately, but wait a minute. How?
He made it there in time. He popped the Tops popped the smoke, but he's just not able to get the revive in time. You know, he got Mormon in this position. He's just shutting them down as well. ID7 coming in hot with the DBS, and now we saw Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. They were the ones going for the hunt. They were the ones kind of looking for these eliminations towards the top of the mountain. But now it's just one player by himself, and he is the one that is going to be hunted instead.
Yeah, but at least he's trying to hunt one player that he can actually spot out that seems to be separated from the rest of them. That's going to be Hong Kong China, Team Hong Kong China's Yao Jia. It's a bit too far from the rest of them. But we do have on quite a good view up here. There's going to be Mormon coming from Team Thailand. They still have a full squad well and alive. Unfortunately, I have to agree with you. Team Kingdom of Saudi Arabia seems to be at a very tough spot with one player left. But at least if Team Hong Kong China cancelled out Team Thailand, he might have a shot at winning with a double down. That is a good throwable drop by Shrebs just now, getting a discount day, one for another free one. But Xiao Jiao will fight back, taking a bit of a trade between these two teams. It's gonna be a 3v1. Down to Rare. He's a very rabbing right now to fight against the rest of Team Thai.
Oh yes, Thailand, they were in the 7th spot here in terms of the leaderboards, and with this amount of points that they've already gathered, 27 points in this map itself, you know, that'll definitely allow them to make it towards the top 6. And oh man, the nade elim just coming in from Schwabs, making it look very easy. It's just Rare by himself, just getting demolished here by the nade of Norman and the push of his teammate. Winner chicken dinner secured from Thailand.
I don't know, man. It's down to the elimination points, I guess, because last time I saw I think you noticed as well, Team Vietnam, I think they scored more than the chicken dinner points. It was definitely double digit. I mean, do you even need a chicken at this point? They still consistently at the top. Chop on, and even though they didn't score the chicken just now, the MVP is still going to be coming up from Team Vietnam. Zeus with 4 eliminations by himself, almost 8,000 damage. If you compare with the average, that's like what? almost three times more
yeah.
than the average.
100%. I mean, those guys are on fire, but we have to give our props to Team Thailand. You know, they just being able to gain, farm and loot all the utilities. They use it with so much ease. Very, very similar playstyle to Team Vietnam. You know, they're not afraid to get into these fights, and they just make it look when it comes to those close range to medium range fights. So very well played, and that will definitely allow them to secure their spot in the top 6 at least, because previously they were top 7. And I think for the rest of these squads, you know, it's not about trying to stop Vietnam from securing more points. I guess it's for them, it's about trying to make their way to the top 6, because remember, ladies and gents, this is Group A. In order to qualify to the grand finals in 2 days time, they need.
I'm going to disagree with you that upfront face. I'm going to disagree with you.
Why?
Oh, okay, I tell you why. If there's nobody stopping Team Vietnam from gaining those points, there's not enough points for the other teams out there. That's the problem right now.
Fair enough.
That's the biggest problem in Battle Royale. If you're not stopping the teams that's bulldozing all the other teams out there, how can you get a point? Because all the points will all be just taken out by these guys instead. There's no room for the other teams.
So I think you just have to kind of start hunting early on, looking for Team Vietnam. You know, as they're looting, try take them out early in the early stages. But it's tough because you can see the way they're rotating, the way they're winning out these fights. They're confident, and they are definitely not here to kind of play around and give away freebies to the rest of the regions.
Okay. Right now, we're just halfway through. We're done with only 3 maps. There's 3 more maps left for the rest of the teams, especially the teams at the very bottom, to make a comeback. And the only way I can actually see that happen, just try and just challenge Team Vietnam at their initial draw spot. That's the only way for the other teams start to catch up. Because if you look at the margin, if you look at the gap between the first and second place, it's just huge. So there's no room for the other teams to gain points. I'm not trying to tell them to catch up to number 1. Leave that alone for a bit. Just try to gain points. The only way for them to gain points is just by making sure the points are getting the most elimination being shut down early. That's the only way to go.
But it's tough. I mean, if you're one of the teams that are not in the top slot, you can see every time in the feed, it's just Vietnam's flag coming up, popping up. You know, getting those frags. Do you, as a team that's not in the top 6 right now, want to kind of face your fears and go up against the top performers of the groups? I would be shaking. I would be like, you know what? Let's let another team do it. Maybe we'll just wait for them in the last circle. You know, hopefully we can take them out. Oh, man.
Xin chào Hiếu. Có thể nói là chúng ta vừa kết thúc 3 game và lúc này thì bạn vẫn đang team bạn vẫn đang đứng đầu ở bảng xếp hạng. Vậy thì có thể chia sẻ cái bí quyết như thế nào để cho team của chúng ta có được một cái thành tích ổn tính đến thời điểm này?
Yếu tố thứ nhất là vì màu cờ sắc áo, và yếu tố thứ hai là do vòng bo may mắn.
Chỉ như vậy thôi, chỉ là cờ sắc áo và do may mắn, đúng không? And this is the interview for player, and I asked that Hiếu about after 3 months, and his team is leading the standing right now, and I can ask him about what is the key point to get the best result right here, and he said that, and about the branch in presenting in Vietnam, and about the lucky a little bit. Và câu hỏi thứ hai dành cho Z Hiếu đó là, và chúng ta chỉ còn 3 game nữa, vậy thì với một đối thủ mà đang bám đuổi các bạn rất là mạnh như vậy thì chúng ta sẽ cần phải chuẩn bị những điều gì để cùng thi đấu với họ trong 3 game cuối này?
Bây giờ thì chuẩn bị ăn xong rồi chiến những game tiếp à.
Chỉ như vậy thôi, là ăn cho đủ năng lượng và chiến game tiếp thôi, đúng không?
Yeah.
Rất là dễ thương. And I asked Hiếu about the preparation for the last 3 games, and he said that, and his team will eat a lot to have the energy to fight with the opponent until the end. And let's fight for Vietnamese team. Và cảm ơn Z Hiếu rất là nhiều, và chúc cho Z Hiếu cũng như là các đồng đội của mình sẽ thi đấu thật tốt trong 3 game còn lại nhé. Cảm ơn bạn rất là nhiều.
Just insane. I mean, we were talking in between breaks about how healthy the Vietnamese food was.
Yes.
And I think it's definitely working out there for them.
And the fact that they are the points taken there, how they can perform so well is because they ate prior to the. I mean, they ate every other teams in the game as well.
they're completely full, but I'm sure they still have a little bit of room for the rest of the squad in the upcoming maps. But yeah, just this previous match, incredible display here from the side of Thailand with 22 total points. You know, obviously 10 points from winning chicken dinner and 12 eliminations across the board. Just ruthless. Very similar to, almost similar, very close though to the performance of Vietnam in that first match, because Vietnam in the first match, they were able to take down 13 eliminations. So, you know, they definitely are a top contender that we definitely should be watching out here for. And I'm sure the team from Thailand will not stay quiet here throughout the rest of this group stage.
God, the overall rankings, it's exactly 20 points between the first and second place. That's crazy. And when it comes to 6th and 7th place, it is so minute for the margins. It's so... it's definitely agitating for Team Philippines, Kazakhstan, and even Sri Lanka. I think down to even... It's so within reach, even to the side to the 12th place Turkmenistan as well. It's so reachable. But like I mentioned before, the biggest issue is where Team Vietnam just overtake everybody else's point. That's the only reason right now. So what they have to switch for the teams on the second page to get into the A list, just to give them a bit of the light at the end of the tunnel to get into the top 6 by the end of the day?
Oh, I have no idea, but clearly it's got something to do with the diet, you know, with the food that they're eating. Because the Vietnam team, they definitely know what's cooking. But yeah, nonetheless, that's gonna be all here for game number 3. I'm FaZe, that's Choo Choo. This is gonna be the Asian Games Esports Qualifier here for the PUBG Mobile in the Asian Games edition. We'll see you guys right after the break for more PUBG action. Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen here. Welcome back to the 2026 Asian Games Esports Qualifiers, PUBG Mobile. This is the Asian Games version. I'm FaZe, and alongside of me is surprisingly Contra. How's it going?
Yeah, and it's been great so far. We've been watching some of all these intense action, and overall, it's been an amazing time over onto the course of these past couple of rounds. And of course, when we take a look at how it's been so far, Team Vietnam has been trailblazing the entire Group A at the moment, and I think like it is quite safe to say that they will be looking forward to that qualification into the finals. But then again, the big question is, once they go to the finals, what other competitors are waiting for them from the side of Group B? But for the meantime, it's all about the rest of the pack, who will also join Vietnam in these upcoming rounds.
Yeah, I think almost like 100% that they've kind of secured themselves a spot in the grand finals for sure. But yeah, just insane. I'm just kind of excited to see what's going to happen for the rest of today, because obviously this is going to be our last map of Erangel, and then the final two maps is going to be Miramar, and that's going to be something that these teams are maybe not used to playing, because over the past couple of days, since yesterday as well, we had rehearsals, and that was actually the practice maps were kind of being played on Erangel as well. So it's going to be something new that we could definitely see these guys go up against.
First squad of Thailand has been looking absolutely sharp as well, where we saw game one didn't win according to plan, but they've been thriving ever since. They've made adjustments, they've improved from the get-go, and you saw how well they've been able to adjust.
Myself.
You're a shapeshifter all of a sudden, you know?
Now, this is the play that everybody's waiting for. The one with the very cute puppy headband. That's going to be Tony K. And this is the first time we're witnessing Tony K and Tony K going to play together. And to see Tony K after a very long, what you call it? I forgot the word. I couldn't find the word right now. After his long rest. Hiatus, there you go.
Yeah.
He has not been in action for not much at all for this year, to be honest. So this is going to be one of his debut of 2026 after such a long time for the side of Tony K. And he did wanted that very long break before, and I hope he come back now and feeling refreshed. Since they do have Joker stand out as a subs right now, I hope in the side of Thai teams, this definitely will change their dynamic as a whole, because Thai teams so far been doing okay. I would say the greatest, but they're quite consistent still for the past two maps of Erangel. Out of the three maps here, they got themselves in the top 4 multiple times. But the most consistent, we still have to give it to the team of Vietnam right now.
Yeah, I don't know how any of these teams are going to catch up in points, but I guess, you know, it's not about catching up to them, but maybe taking them out early so you can farm yourselves some points. Remember, this is the top 6 of this group do qualify in the next 2 days to the finals, and the winner of those finals will be able to qualify to the actual official Asian Games that is going to be happening in Japan. So this is just a step to the next stage, and they really have to start stepping things up here, as we're down to the final games.
Now, we do know when it comes to the tips coming from the Team Vietnam side, they did mention about they ate plenty of very good healthy food and diet, of course, before getting into the first map of the day and just snowballing every single team out there. Now, when it comes to the tips for the other teams as need the catching up to do, we're talking about team at the very bottom. We're halfway through, so it means it's still halfway to be done, that they still can make a comeback if they want to. Right now it's down to whether they have what it takes. Can they go even further? Will they push themselves out of the comfort zone to just rank up and make sure they got themselves in the top 6 by the end of today? Now we're heading into our fourth Erangel.
Final map of Erangel. This is going to be followed up for the full final maps, which will be placed in Miramar. So if they've got to start getting comfortable, and we can see that Vietnam have definitely been enjoying themselves in the top spot, and they definitely love this map. We'll see whether or not they can keep up the same performance in Miramar, and maybe that's the issue for some of these teams, that they're not exactly the best players when it comes to Erangel. Maybe they prefer Miramar, and that's where we might see some of these teams kind of pop off in terms of points, in terms of eliminations, to kind of slingshot their way to the top 6 of this group.
But wouldn't it be a bit of a risk to just overpowering yourself in Miramar, but not so much when Erangel seems to be the map that played most this tournament? So, I mean, to bank it up all into one or two Miramar in a day is just
risky, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
goodness.
I mean, when we talked about Miramar later on, I did mention to you before that this is not the best map for Team Vietnam yet. They do prefer, last time we saw they're rising up, always going to be in Miramar map. So I don't know what can stop them at this point.
If this is not their best map, then I am very much worried about for what's to come. I mean, just looking at the eliminations, top eliminations from Z is from Win 11 and 9, and there's Schweppes with 8 for himself. Most damage, all of them from the Vietnamese squad. These guys are a powerhouse, and they are not someone you want to be messing with at all.
I guess we can give a bit of point the fact that if you have a twin in your team, it's always going to be, you know, slightly stronger chemistry in terms of their team play.
Oh, they're
side
twins.
Yeah, they're twins. Zeus and Bo's actually are identical twins.
That makes a lot more sense now. They're using their twin energy, their brainwaves to communicate. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh man. That's why they're in the top spot, and we can see a bit of damage, actually quite a lot of damage being done on towards Barode, and he actually gets knocked down from far.
Okay. But you know what? Just like how Contra bluffed us before, never mind. But it's always going to be, sometimes it happens, you know, hiccups actually adds in the flavors of the tournament itself to give us a bit of a memorable moment. But we talked about the teams. We're going to remake the lobby just now, just to update you guys what's happening behind the scene. We're going to have Erangel at play once more, which means we might have a different flight path, a different circle entirely. And so far for the entirety of the day phase, we don't have a single circle that seems to be repeating itself yet, which is quite unusual in PUBG Mobile. I'll say it straight, because usually we do have, if it's a straight map back to back for the entire day, there will be some similar circles. At least map 1 and map 3, or map 1 and map 2 circles seems to be very similar to each other. But today, I mean, in Asian Games version, it's totally a different circle entirely.
Yeah, I guess that's the beauty of this qualifiers, you know, and the beauty of battle royales as well, because you will never ever have a deja vu moment, or a moment that repeats itself, because there's always going to be a new circle, there's always going to be a new situation, and it's always a different situation that you kind of have to adapt yourself to. And with the experience that these guys are kind of bringing into the playing field, they've gone through all these different types of situations. You can see Vietnam on top when it comes to the circle, making their way towards the mountains. We saw the Philippines, we saw the Turkmenistan, if I'm not mistaken, or Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and even Vietnam kind of fighting for the that spot on that hill. And Vietnam, as soon as they saw that Philippines were up there, instantly falling back, waiting for the third party. They were waiting patiently. They knew it was an important spot. And as soon as the fight between Philippines and Tajikistan actually happened, Vietnam came in for the third party and ended up winning that spot on the mountain. So all these different kind of situations, they've gone through it, and they're definitely showing the experience here. And that's why they're at the top of the leaderboard with 53 points.
Yeah, throw them any type of circles that you can think of. These guys know how to play alongside with it and being very adaptable and flexible to play around whatever circle being thrown at them. We're talking about not just the circle itself, even the flight path. We know for a fact that sometimes the flight path too seems to be a bit further than the circle when it comes to the first stage, but they made it happen anyway. So far we haven't got ourselves an SMB circle. A lot of them in the main peninsula.
Close, though.
The first one was quite a bridge, but then it kind of go back to the main peninsula. I do want to see if the other teams, we do know a couple of teams prefer to drop themselves in SMB. One of them, if I'm not mistaken, was Kazakhstan and Jordan. Now, can we see these teams to start to rise up based on a different type of circle entirely down south all the way? If you want to weight it up on Miramar, I think it's a bit too much at risk there, because there's only 2 Miramar maps per day and there's 4 Erangel. So like it or not, they have to work around this Erangel.
Yeah, but the difference between the top 6 and the bottom 6 is basically the difference between 6th place and the rest of the bottom places are very, very minuscule. So if these guys, there's definitely a chance for them to kind of farm points in Miramar, but of course this is the least suggested strategy you should be bringing in towards this qualifiers, especially since there's only 1 day for Group A, 1 day for Group B, and if you don't make it throughout this session here, this day today, it's going to be tough for you. You know, you're just going to have to enjoy the rest of the scenes in the beautiful city of Ho Chi Minh City.
I mean, there's still a plus point from my end. Looking at
I wouldn't mind, that's for sure.
Yeah, I know, it's so pretty. And you know, probably I wouldn't mind if I'm the player myself. I'm probably gonna ask, like, how did they actually train for the Team Vietnam themselves? How they being so consistent? Because I do know when it comes to their regional qualifiers for the pro league scene, it's a very tough competition in the Vietnam region itself to be their qualifiers. So not just that, regarding this is the time where the players get to mix and mingle to get to know each other regarding how their schedules, their usual day-to-day basis, their daily life as a pro player for each regional and nation is very different. If you compare even for example the Vietnam team, even the diet they did mention about how healthy, we do know how healthy the diet can get, right?
Yeah.
How it will actually impact the calmness or even the mental state of a play. It actually affects a lot in terms of a digestive system and everything. They can actually exchange knowledge for the players. That's what I love about big tournaments, which we do have in the case of the qualifiers for the Asian Games. They can actually learn from each other a lot, but probably a bit of a barrier that's going to be a language barrier. But we do have a lot of translators in AI nowadays. That's
True.
pretty easy to, you know, communicate with, or between you and another person that don't have the same language of communication.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's just, this is kind of the moment where you it's LAN, you know, it's quite rare to have a LAN situation in esports. True. And it costs a lot of money, so shout outs to the organizers, and this is the opportunity for them to kind of get to know each other and you know, make connections and learn from each other, like you said. But there's also a chance for you to kind of, you know, make your way slither and get a contract for another region, you know, if you want to.
Hey. That's true.
Gotta make your connections, you know.
Or maybe they'll be exchanging jersey, not their national jersey, but I think they're probably gonna have their extra own club jersey that I feel like they're probably gonna have exchange and trade between the players. Sure. Yeah, I would do the same if I'm there as well. So imagine that. But for the players, I think they are prepping up for the last Erangel. Now, we do know when it comes to the loss of a certain map here phase, things might get really wild or really quiet. It's either or, that's it. Usually when it comes to the last map of Erangel, things can get really extremely wild because everybody knows that it's the last of Erangel. They are more confident in this map rather than going into Miramar. So I expect probably a couple of skirmish in the first stage.
Yeah, to be fair, I feel like it's a lot more comfortable even for me as a player to play in Erangel. You know, there's a lot more different positions you can hide yourself in. You can tuck yourself in towards the grass as well, especially if you get the ghillie suit out of the loot box. When it comes to Miramar, man, it's just full on dry. You can easily get spotted from a mile away in the yellow dunes of Miramar. So I guess, yeah, you're right. This is kind of where it gets a little bit crazy. Yeah, definitely need to farm some points here, and just.
And so far, we haven't seen any.
Vietnam, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want to see who can be the kryptonite for Team Vietnam so far, because we haven't seen anybody that can actually just slam them down completely, taking all those points away from the other teams. And that's a bit of an issue for especially the teams at the very bottom. And now, speaking of the teams at the very bottom as well, this is the time they should realize they have nothing else to lose. So less pressure for them. They probably can perform better when there's less pressure, because like it or not, it's make it or break it time for them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this is even if you're at the bottom of the point system, you're definitely learning a lot. You know, you're gaining so much experience for you to bring back home, for you to bring back to your future games, and it kind of just have the experience to be able to play in a LAN setting is just completely different than playing at home. So, and something that we got to think about as well, it's the time difference. You know, maybe
true.
between the players from MENA. The
Jet
newcomers
lag
here,
issue,
you know, jet lag is just something else. And I'm pretty sure they arrive maybe 2-3 days before the tournament. Is that enough time for you to get through jet lag?
Oh, I hope I think they have plenty of rest. Because at least they look energetic for the players. For Kyrgyzstan, of course, there's gonna be the rising stars, newcomers. They're having fun. I like how everybody's just, you know, have so much joy. Even though it's a tournament still, yes, they get to meet each other and they get to see each other physically and face to face. They also have the experience of, like you mentioned, LAN tournament or on-ground tournament, because it's not every day we get to see on-ground tournament with a lot of players in one particular game. That's going to be Battle Royale. The only Battle Royale in this event during the Asian Game, that's going to be this event right now. And to have massive players compete at the same time, man, that's not easy to do it.
Oh yeah, definitely not. It is just something else. So I just hope that you guys at home can just rally up together and support your regions here and kind of push them on their journey towards the Asian Games that is coming up in Japan, because we have to just appreciate what this tournament is doing. You know, it's giving us at home some imagination and kind of uniting us as a nation as well for, you know, a bright future ahead for not only yourself and of course the players of your region. So shout out to this tournament. Appreciate
True.
what's happening in front of us, because this is history in the making.
That's definitely true, especially when it comes to esports. I mean, nobody knows esports back in like what, 10 years ago? And after 10 years now, it's in the Asian Games. Imagine that, and imagine the future for the younger generations as well, that some of them are not into sports, but electronic sports might actually offer them something, still represent and have that sense of national pride to compete at this high stage as well. But if only we are younger.
Yep. Take me back. How old am I now?
Oh, I wish we're like in our teen years. Yeah, I mean we are veterans, the OG of a gaming generation.
Even if I minus 10 years for myself, I'm still old, too old, you know. I kind of minus a good 15 years from my life, then that's when I can be a rising star. But
I think we are at the stage of uncles and aunties right now for the players.
I soon might be a grandpa to these people, man.
But imagine this, phase, the fact that this industry once upon a time was something that nobody can imagine it can go this far. Imagine in the future as well how much things have changed and how much we have grown as a community for PUBG Mobile as well. So you guys, like Face mentioned, this is where you want to cheer and support and rally behind your national teams. Because if you ask us, or if you were us 10 years ago, you probably don't have this opportunity or
definitely not
this experience. So definitely don't take it for granted. It's definitely a huge historic milestone for all players, not just in PUBG Mobile, as a whole industry of esports as well. And I'm looking forward what's to offer in the future when it comes to the Asian Games. But speaking of the future, the Philippines seems to be also having a bit of ups and downs today.
Yeah, they've been looking pretty good. There was a couple of instances in map 1 or map 2 where Barode was able to kind of pick up double eliminations as they were rushing him in towards the small shack. But you know, they've been pretty quiet since then. But they're definitely not afraid to go for these fights. You know, it's just when you're up against a powerhouse of Vietnam on their own home soil, you know, it's tough.
Yeah, they definitely have the drive for the Vietnam team, especially. I mean, it's sort of a double-blade sword sometimes when you are the host nation. It's either you have too much of a pressure, mounting pressure from the audience, or, you know, it's your birthplace, so you want to show that you bring the glory for your birthplace. But there's also the case where you get comfortable too. For example, that you can get access to your family, your support circle, and the food, the usual things that you're exposed to. It's something comfortable for you, so they don't feel as much pressure because of those comfort is quite nearby compared to the players that have to fly all the way across the other side of the sphere. And just to be here, like you mentioned, jet lag is another issue they have to really go against. You can see the players yawning as well. So okay guys, stay strong, you can do this.
What is the time difference between Turkmenistan and Vietnam? I'm just gonna go quick Google.
Go ahead, I'm curious as well.
Well, it's only 2 hours.
Is it?
Vietnam is 2 hours ahead of Turkmenistan.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
so
not that bad.
So they basically pretty much just 1 hour time difference from us then, I assume.
In Malaysia, yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. They're okay.
What is that man being tired for? Maybe he didn't have enough fuel in his system. Maybe he needs to have some coffee. They're just gonna be popping off.
Pho and banh mi, probably. Yeah, we have to taste the food there one day. I hope one day we get to fly just to try.
100%.
Yeah, because it's not the same. No matter what the cuisine is you try around your local area, it's not the same when you actually try the authentic dish of a certain nation and region. I think that's something that the players should definitely experimenting as well. I mean, they definitely walk around and try the different culture, learn about the other different cultures, about the other nations too.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, it's like ordering Vietnamese food here where I'm from. At the most expensive restaurant is probably taste the same as something very normal for the locals there in Vietnam. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this,
True.
So it's best we go there. So, hopefully we get called up, you know. Ladies and gents, we're going to be heading into our final match of Erangel. This is our 4th out of 6 matches here for tonight. We will see if this final map will be a stomping ground, a chaotic round, or will players tend to take it a lot more slower here as we close things off.
I think it depends on the circle, perhaps the first one, whether it will force the player to just go into one direction or not. I do prefer that kind of circle, but tucked into one corner and the players will force to move into one direction only. That's going to be fun to watch. But today has been a very generous day for the players because it has been quite a generous circle, quite in the center of it. And do we have, I think even the flight path seems to be very nice for this last wrangle of the day.
Oh yeah, 100% straight. Basically straight down the middle. making their way towards SMB, and we know for a fact that these the players from MENA do like to drop down towards there. I think earlier we did see Turkmenistan or Tajikistan kind of making their way towards SMB, but this time around Tajikistan do hop out a little bit early on. Yeah, you can see Kazakhstan now off the plane.
It's Kazakhstan and Jordan usually in SMB, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And HK, Hong Kong, China is always around either Ferropia or Milta, just around farm, around that, the bridge side, the other side of the bridge. But Circle still have not popped yet, so I'm curious about, please let it be SMB Circle for once.
That's going to be insane. Oh, there's a chance. There's a chance.
It's a 50-50.
A little bit of the SMB, a little bit of the main island as well. But most of the squads are in the circle itself. You can already see everyone kind of making sure they have their vehicles to have their way to move around the map. And Kazakhstan instantly, this is what they usually do, drop towards that Milta position, grab the vehicles, and just start looting across the rest of that southeast side. But down below we can see three different nations: Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan, Jordan as well, kind of looting towards that SMB side. So we might see some action there soon enough.
I'm surprised how many teams actually drop themselves in SMB, because the usual ones we saw like only 2 teams before. It wasn't as this much, but there's high chance there's going to be a 50-50 like we mentioned regarding the circle here, and I'm looking forward if it's still going to be 50-50 up to stage number 4, because if stage 4 the circle's still kind of undecisive whether to go to the main peninsula or the SMB, that's going to be a very tough decision to make by the IGL, because there's a chance for stage number 6 or 7 for the circle to completely enclose into one side only. If you pick the wrong side, then you're done.
Yeah, definitely, especially trying to cross the bridge towards the main island. It is going to be tough. It's just going to be gatekeeping upon gatekeeping, and the team that's kind of holding off that blue zone from SMB should be able to get quite a decent amount of elimination points, but we shall see. Still, the zone has not made up its mind.
You know, so far Vietnam team has been dropping himself. The initial drop spot has been always the same, so it's going to be a Snaya Poliana for the past few maps of Erangel that we've seen and witnessed right now. And I'm surprised no other teams try to engage with them in an early fight. I mean, the only team that we do not able to be shut down by these guys just getting those early fights, because the moment they loot up, I think stage 2 or 3 when they start to migrate, it's almost impossible to wrap them around, because these guys just know what to do, exactly where to stand. It's just incredible timing as well.
They've got the mechanics to do it as well. Oh, here we do see Tony K and the rest of the Thailand squad do have quite the control over school here. They have tons of loot, decent amount of nades being picked up, and they should be ready to go basically for any sort of fights across this map. But he did swap out one of his teammates. I think it was Joker. So this is going to be our first time seeing him in action here.
You know what? This is something that I have been looking forward for since last year, to have Tony K and Turney K to play in the same team. Do you know the story between these two players?
I have no idea.
Okay, I'm just gonna make it a TLDR version. So basically, Turney K, the one with the E, Turney K, idolizes Tony K. And Tony K is one of the prodigy in PUBG Mobile Southeast Esports scene for years now, and still one of the youngest players, still among one of the best up there. And he never take any day off until recently. For the past, I've casted this game for 7-8 years, and Tony K started coming in around year number 2 years after PUBG Mobile. I think it's going to be 5 years he's been in the competitive scene. Never once he actually not play in a big tournament. So
wow,
Turney K, he put his IGN as Turney K. We asked him this question in an interview before. He really looked up a lot towards Tony K. To get to play with your idol, insane lineup, and not just that, you actually get to catch up to his level to be in the same team within years of practice. That is some, I don't know, some achievement, man. It's going to be definitely one of the biggest milestones for 10K as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's kind of what this is all about, being able to, starting things off as a player, you kind of imagine yourself up there on the stage, and eventually you do end up being able to make it to the main stages. Back in the days, we were playing tournaments for prize pools of 500 USD, 200 USD. That was a lot back then. This time around,
True.
like, there's millions on the line nowadays, so it's just a bright future here for esports, and being able to have PUBG Mobile in the Asian Games is just super meaningful, and I'm sure these guys are enjoying every single moment of it, because I'm sure they just did not imagine themselves to be up here on stage.
I love the tagline that the moment you have that imagination, as long as you are united to go towards the same goal of imagination, it's definitely going to be a bright future ahead. That's definitely link up all well together. It's the unity that actually make the bridge in between. That's why you guys are super important at watching at home or wherever you are at right now. Make sure you guys keep the support and cheer in a very positive manner, because it does give an impact for the entire industry, even in the long run.
And because of that, I mean, we can see the dedicated developers and production team of this tournament. They've provided holographic projected theme, player presentations, emulations, and departure effects. Dedicated to the Asian Games. You can see the hot air balloons with countries' flags on them. We can see. We didn't get to see a lot of the hot air balloons yet, right?
Yeah,
definitely not. I mean, we can see them spread across the map.
Yeah,
but
I do want to see the interior of it, though.
Ooh, that would be pretty sick.
And what crossed my mind is that there's a hot air balloon. I mean, we do know about the graphics, right on top, when we saw there's like those LEDs and those holographic. But imagine if the players actually try to drop down from their own flight and they try to get into those air balloons. Is it possible though?
I wouldn't be surprised if this was a mode for the casual players like us at home. I'm sure I would definitely be trying to land myself in a hot air balloon, with the Malaysian flag on top of it.
I know, and then you're probably gonna stoke up all your resources in the game as well, so nobody can catch you from above, right?
Exactly.
And make sure you got yourself an AWM at that as well.
Yeah, it's over. I'm winning the game, that's for sure.
But we do have still a 50-50 circle when it comes to stage number 2 here, so it's quite a hard read for the teams. Everybody seems to be clustered around the fork of the road between Farm and Milta there. So the bridge, whoever tried to cross it, I hope Turkmenistan will actually go for a different route entirely, because I don't think the bridge is safe at all at this point, and they needed points. So the best way for them to actually gain points is wait things out right now. That's going to be the best solution for Turkmenistan.
Yeah, definitely. And slowly, all teams are kind of making their way towards the circle. Soon enough, I was about to say we're going to see some action. And Warrior has downed one of the players from the Jordan region. We'll see how that continues to develop.
Back to it, Team Vietnam. I'm really surprised.
They've set up a gaming house here. Each and every one of them has their Lamborghinis. Yeah, their cars out and ready.
Okay, how to start Team Vietnam? Okay, for this lobby right now, it's definitely going to be a slightly tough, but we do know that tomorrow is going to be a different group. Now, finals, when it comes to only the top 12 teams for each group, there's only going to be top 6 to advance to the finals on Sunday. Now I want to see how Vietnam fare competing against Group B. We 100% know they're going to make into the finals here for Vietnam, of course. There's no way they're not getting into the finals. They are 100% there.
Yeah, top 6 for sure. I mean, it's going to be tough. I mean, just looking at Group B, the amount of powerhouses in that group itself, it is insane. Talking about Malaysia, alongside Nepal as well. I heard those guys were pretty insane as well. So it's going to be a tough, an uphill battle in the final day, and that's the thing. You kind of have to stay locked in. The way they locked in here today, I'm sure they can definitely make it through, because top 8 qualify to the main event.
Mormon, Tony K. Now it feels like reverting back to vampires. That's gonna be the current lineup for Team Thai, except for Tony K, of course. It's nice. It is sort of a nice reunion as well for Team Thai with having Tony K in the lineup here. When it comes to Mormon reunite once more with Tony K. But when we talked about Team Vietnam, now I do want to see if the Thai teams can actually try to challenge Team Vietnam. But we do have first contact made. It's going to be Team Saudi Arabia. No, I'm not surprised. They're always going to be the first one to start a fight.
Ooh, already eliminated one of the players from the Philippine squad. Unfortunate there. This is a pattern that I've been noticing. You know, Philippines, they tend to lose a player quite early on. And as we head into the later stages of the map, it gets a little bit difficult there for them to kind of win out fights. You can see down below, Turkmenistan is still in towards the SMB side of the map, so it's going to be tough for them to cross the bridge.
They can wait.
Gonna be,
do you want to pass? Do you want to cross that bridge with that kind of colors around the minimap? I would be scared. No, never mind. No thanks.
I would be swimming and kind of just hoping that I make it into the circle.
It's like you're literally walking to your deathbed just to cross that bridge at this point. And the only way, yeah, I agree. I mean, swimming is an option, but there's probably going to be a lot of eyes watching around the horizon too.
100%.
Yeah, so they have to be extra careful regarding the timing. I think probably stage 4, even though they might be in the blue zone for Turkmenistan, but it's still bearable to tank out the blue zone around stage 4. But stage 5 onwards, not so. Wow!
Long range.
Scar L with 4 times?
That is the next level, and look at that. They down Xiaojia down here in towards the warehouse instantly. They pick up their cars, pick up the keys, warm up the engines, and instantly just rush them to make sure they secure the elimination. That's 1 point already here for the side of Vietnam. Not that they need it, but the aggressive playstyle is just insane indeed.
There's almost, I think that's slightly over 200 meters apart with the Scar L. Note
They
that.
make it look easy, man.
They're not even sweating at this point. Vietnam team is just playing it for pleasure at this point. They're not even having any pressure at all to get into the top 6. They know for a fact they're already in the top 6. They're just getting it more.
Yeah.
But for the
Just
other
rubbing
teams,
it in our faces at this point, you know?
it's like flexing it out. But hey, for a good reason. I mean, it shows as well how well disciplined they are. No matter how their situation is, they will try to perform their best. But whilst they are still getting points for Team Vietnam, we're talking about the number 6 and 7 there. 6-7, and now back to the point. I'm sorry, I have to just put it out there. 1 point difference, phase. And even 8th place Kazakhstan is too close.
Yeah,
it's
they
just
have a
2
chance.
points.
Sri Lanka as well, you know, getting a couple of kills, staying alive, that can definitely shoot them up to the 6th placement as well. So they're down but not out, and that's the beauty of this tournament. The fact that you have 6 different maps to kind of farm points out. And looking at Sri Lanka, they're in a pretty decent position in that circle, and they should be able to kind of take down any stragglers outside of the zone. Get some eliminations here, farm some points, and maybe make their way to the top 6. Still, this is only map 4 out of the 6 matches that we have tonight.
True, and that's gonna be Turkmenistan. The moment they left the SMB, that's why they've been waiting it for a bit longer time here. There's too many teams around the end of the bridge. Where Red League finished off one of the players of Team Turkmenistan without breaking any sweat at that. There's still 3 players, and they're still waiting around the bridge area, knowing the fact one of their scouters actually gave a lot of information regarding the survival here. But we do have a couple of contacts made between Team Saudi Arabia. Spotted out. It's going to be Team Tajikistan, who seem to be in the same boat as Turkmenistan right now. But I do know these guys, the teams at the very bottom, like it or not, they have to stop be engaging. Prestige taking out the star player of Tajikistan, And sorry, I cannot even pronounce his name now. Anonym. There you go. Having some trouble. They cannot afford to lose Anonym at this point for is out there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you're gonna go up against a fight up against the likes of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, it's gonna be tough. And Prestige gets a nice nade from downtown to actually take him out and eliminate him for good. One of the best players are out. Turkmenistan and Tajikistan. Oh man, they're just getting taken down from different angles. It's just so difficult for both these two teams to even gain a point, to get a little something, some signs of life for this qualifiers. It's not looking good here for them. Kazakhstan taking one more player away. Just incredible scenes.
Just feels like endless vortex of unknown abyss right now for Tajikistan and Turkmenistan. Right now to try to fight each other. What Maisie managed to finish Davamuru right now. At least there's an opening given by the side of Tajikistan if they want to fight back. ID7 hoping it will somehow connect with us. What a that's just incredible trajectory.
Yes, this man knows the ins and outs of this map, of the buildings. He is the man who has the hands on the blueprints, and he is making it look so easy. He's already good for one, and he's looking to find that last remaining player, Isma of Tajikistan. Oh man, the fire is out. It forces him out of that corner, and there it is. Tajikistan has been eliminated from map number 4.
It's a long, but it's still doable. I mean, I don't know whether we should thank Team Vietnam in this case, but due to them just howling over, just having a big haul of all these elimination points, so all the teams around the 6-7 place, the middle pack, the margins is not too big. Down to the very bottom as well, it's still doable. If they want to catch with only 2 more Miramar maps, it's still possible in this case, but they have to bring their A game. They have to go back to the drawing board and figure out for the teams at the very bottom what to do next, especially for the teams that have been eliminated just now. That's going to be Tajikistan. At least they have time to revise regarding their Miramar. But looking at the circle that just shrunk on top of farm, majority of the teams coming up from the south, not many coming up from the north.
Yeah, definitely. Most of the northern players have already kind of made their way in towards the circle. It's just these three teams right now: Jordan, Sri Lanka, and Turkmenistan. I think Kazakhstan as well might have been part of the squad that's outside of that zone on the south side. They've got to make their way, and Sri Lanka kind of have eyes on these on the Jordanians here in towards this compound. So this is something that they definitely have to be watching out for sure. Well, all this is happening. Thailand, Tony K, the rest of the gang, kind of enjoying a nice scenic route, trying to figure out where exactly is the best place to position themselves here in towards the circle, because obviously you have to watch out for these gatekeepers as well. You have to use these vehicles as cover, especially in these open lands.
Wow.
They are just getting shot from afar. You've got to figure out where all of this is coming from. I think it's the team, the Sri Lankan team, just shooting, taking down, doing as much damage as they can here to the vehicles, to
oh no,
players.
it's Team Vietnam. It's the Vietnam.
Of course.
It's Team Vietnam. They were they are quite slowly almost getting to the center of circle. They pretty much got all the information regarding all the edges of circles movement as well. Even oh wow, that's bold and ambitious. But coming up from the side of Team Thai, I feel sorry for Tony K. He just swapped and sub into the game. Unfortunately, he's the first one to go out here. Hopefully, he can make a bit of an action later on when it comes to Miramar map. But for Thai teams, that's a heavy toll they have to pay with their Terminator or their Fragger taken out quite early here. But you did mention about Team Sri Lanka. They seems to be stuck in between, but I don't think Team Vietnam noticed them yet.
Not just yet. They've been doing what they like to do best. Be passive, try it, and this might be the game to do it.
Speaking of
be
the
difficult.
Game. Now, my eyes lock into 6 and 7. I do know we have 2 more maps to go, but just imagine, Face, if we ended up only top 6 will advance to the finals on Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Imagine you are 7th place, but you are tied points with 6th place.
does
Yes,
that
there will
work?
be a couple of tiebreakers. First, we're going to see the chicken dinner, of course. After the chicken dinner, if they still have the same amount of chicken dinner, then they're going to go for the placement points. If they one have slightly more, then they definitely have the advantage. But it's still going to be a tiebreaker for, if it's still a tie for their position points, then they're going to go for the eliminations. In this case,
So it
right
all
now,
really matters.
every single attribute matters at this extent. But for the side of Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan, they both don't have any chickens yet for today.
That is true, but so far, Kazakhstan, they're kind of starting to heat things up.
True.
One of the Kazakhstani players were able to get a knock on towards the Sri Lankan players, and it's tough to be in a position of Sri Lanka. You got the Team Kazakhstan shooting you, you got Team Jordan kind of standing by, waiting for you. Oh, they've already started throwing their nades. So just watching out for you to cross. Both these two teams want those elimination points, and you're kind of walking into a sandwich, unfortunately. And there it is. You can see Red Lick from downtown, from far range, 3x scope, just mowing them down, doing tons of damage, downing perfect, just trying to get as many points of damage done through the smoke. Oh man.
Oh no, Sri Lanka.
This just feels so bad to be
Yeah. They
part of the
got
team right now.
sandwiched top, man. The left, right, center. Now, even Dastro, the last member standing for Sri Lanka. That's going to be a different team completely just took it out. That's going to be
exactly.
Team
Oh my
Saudi Arabia.
God.
There's 3 teams gone, and like literally pinning down Team Sri Lanka. I know, it's like they're definitely in the middle of the crossfire, where everybody can just see them as clear as day. But we're not done yet. Jordan taking out Team Kazakhstan. Well, no, never mind. I think Team Thailand also taken out by Team Vietnam once more. Look at Team Vietnam. They're not slowing down again.
Oh, definitely not. But while all this is happening, we do have some fights here between Team Philippines and Team Kyrgyzstan. Kyrgyzstan trying to rack up some points. They're 7th place right now. Just very, very close to the fact of Team Philippines in terms of points, so they've got to win out these fights. They are just trying their best. DBS is out, close range combat, and oh my word, Philippines make it out alive. They gain further points here in the top 6 group. Kazakhstan was doing very well. They gathered 19 points, but with that team elimination from the side of Philippines, they managed to stay on top here of the top 6. Oh, man.
Last player
to be
of
XYZ
Kyrgyzstan.
right now.
Yeah, it's so difficult to be him with nothing to
You can
heal
clearly
himself.
see
back up.
Red Lick.
But he can do much. He doesn't have utilities. He doesn't have that much throwables. He picks out. He might get pinned down. Ooh.
Oh no.
I think Red League still has. Oh, never mind.
Oh, unlucky. That's the name of the game. You gotta watch every single angle. And speaking of angles, Hong Kong, China up against the fights here, up against Indonesia. Both teams have kind of gotten 1 or 2 players down, but right now Indonesia's down to 3. Hong Kong, China down to 2. This is gonna be tough, and of course these guys are just incredible when it comes to these throwables, when it comes to the utilities through the windows, through the wall. They make it all happen. They somehow make it work every single time.
But when it comes to CQC, I'm hoping. Oh, never mind. Yami got knocked down instantly. But at least Rosemary. Oh, never mind. It's going to be Team Vietnam taken out. Team Indonesia from afar as well. Well, Pratama, aka Zeta, will try to buy time. And I hope he can find himself an exit out. He's in the circle, but unfortunately, he's been surrounded by Team Vietnam, by Team Hong Kong, China. There's also rotation done by Team Philippines going up, entering from the northern side. Now, what can Zeta do? He got himself a couple of smokes. No more the nades just to buy him time. He only got 3 more smokes to go. He needs to find an exit out or just fight it head on. That's the only way to go around and try to survive. Right now, we do have 6 teams left. But 1 against the world, that's going to be really tough for Zeta, aka Pratama.
Yeah, it's difficult when all eyes are on you. At this point, he kind of just has to try and survive, because with all the eliminations coming in from the side of Hong Kong, China, they've gathered themselves and made themselves towards the 3rd place, and slowly you see Indonesia kind of falling back down towards the 5th place. So every single kill, every single elimination matters at this point.
Speaking
It's
of every
just
single
so
point,
close.
man. 8 points right now for Team Vietnam. And not sharing any points for the other teams. They're definitely not going to give any points for any other teams here. We're talking about Team Jordan. They still have a shot at getting the points here. We're talking about 5 eliminations in their bag. But they needed more. Unfortunately, top spotted out Linello. And there's going to be Team Vietnam really flattening out all the other teams out there. Bows. Even though their ammunition's running dry, but they know exactly where to look at. And Tops just kept taking them out while Bows and Win will set things up for Tops. There's going to be Team Vietnam plays all this while they've been playing tag team. Giving information, even such a huge explosion there. But Win taken out with AUG, like I mentioned before. They set things up. Win or Tops will do the eliminations and translate it into the point. They have such a great teamwork.
Yeah, top performers right now, Win and Bao's, just making it look super easy. These guys had the most damage, the most eliminations in this tournament, in this qualifier here so far, and they are not slowing down at all. Right now, Hong Kong, China just pushed down. Pratama stuck in towards the top of that compound. Nowhere to run here for him. And Indonesia is a down and out here for the count. Philippines as well, and it's down to the final 4 squads here.
Jordan.
It's tough, man. It's just Jordan has been looking very good in this round, in this match here so far.
Yep.
They've kept themselves pretty healthy. They've got a decent amount of kills, but eliminations and points. But Vietnam is still out here.
Yeah, they're working as a trio, and none of these teams remaining right now have a full squad. I mean, the most they have right now is going to be Team Jordan and Team Vietnam, with each of the teams respectively have a trio. But for the solo players, it's going to be HKG, Hong Kong, China, Mankey, and Kazakhstan, Team Kazakhstan Red League. They are praying and hoping that Team Vietnam and Team Jordan will force a fight against each other first, and they were starting it off with Tops getting a better control over that. Leif hoping he will actually go from the back, and he didn't manage to secure one of the players. Now they do have the same numbers. It's going to be 2v2 between Team Jordan versus Team Vietnam right now.
Oof, this is tough, but there are some signs of life from Team Jordan. Oh no! Instantly,
Tops.
a big nade from Tops. Huge right hand here for him. And Baos has found himself in a very strong positioning. You know, there's some pros and cons to this. You can see the whole playing field, but at the same time, everybody can kind of see, and then they have the information on where you are.
Okay.
It is
Let's do some mathematics phase. We look
Not
at
very
elimination numbers. 14 right now for Vietnam.
Oh my
If they
goodness, most
finish
of
off
the
with a
day.
chicken, it's going to be ended up with a 16 elimination plus another 10. That's going to be 26 points.
Oh.
Right now, the gap between the first and second place, it's definitely over 20 points. I don't know how much further they're dragging all the other teams down there, making sure they just stretch the gap even further away. Like, they are on the moon right now for Team Vietnam.
Oh no, that nade just might finish things off. And yes, it does. Vietnam, that's their second winner chicken dinner of the day, and the most amount of eliminations that they have
Crazy.
gathered here so far. Previously, they kind of set the record with 13. Thailand was close with 12 eliminations, but now I think
got
it was about
16.
15 or 16 if I'm not mistaken.
16. They ended up with a chicken, which means the other two players, the solo players, got demolished by these guys. How did they precisely know the perfect timing to start finding players and get those points? Because if you look at the timing, they weren't too early and yet not too late. They weren't engaging or not too active in the first few stages. They've been watching and observing. Look at the damage by this guy, Tops.
Oh my goodness.
1,000 over, and the average stats is 241. He got himself 8 out of that 16 elimination. Half of the bag of eliminations just by Tops only.
I mean, it's you can't just blame it on the food or the diet at this point. It's got to be something else. It might be some genetics going on.
We had an interview, right? They said it's luck. Do you think really it's luck? You got 2 chickens in a day.
This is Ho Chi Minh City. This is their main ground, their home ground. And man, are they just showing up completely, just demolishing the rest of the competition. It is insane, and they definitely deserve to be in the finals for sure. Wow. If the rest of if the Group B is watching this, then I'm sure they are sweating.
Okay, Group B is going to be a different ball game entirely. I don't know about that lobby yet because we're going to have it tomorrow. In case you guys don't know the teams that you are looking out for, some of you guys that asked about Team Pakistan or Team Nepal, they're going to play tomorrow, guys. So make sure you guys stay tuned for tomorrow as well. But for today, Group A, I feel like Team Vietnam is just
overpowered, you could say that. The rest of the teams, you know, they're doing very well, but when you've got a titan like Vietnam kind of just taking away the points and not allowing you to set a foot on this map, it's so incredibly difficult to do so. And you can see the amount of utility that they bring, the amount of travel distance that they've done to kind of position themselves in the right spot to loot the right amount of utilities and nades. And I'm pretty sure, you know, the amount of nade kills that the Team Vietnam has is just at the most out of the rest of the squad. So they are definitely using these utilities to their advantage and making it work time and time again.
From your perspective, I know you play a lot of a PUBG. So from your perspective, what do the Team Vietnam actually has that feels like they are setting themselves apart from the others that the others don't really have yet?
I think it's the confidence. The fact that they're on home soil, the fact that they are mechanically skilled, and I think it's not something that they have. I feel like it's something that the other regions don't have. They don't have that confidence. They don't have that momentum to kind of build up, because so far Team Vietnam has just been stealing the shows, taking the spotlight for sure.
That's the thing. I mean, they weren't that aggressive in the first stage, but they are a couple of seconds outside of the blue circle here, which means they do play not too early as well. They've been taking slightly a bit of the blue zone. So I think that's something probably all of us can actually learn from Team Vietnam here, despite, I mean, yeah, they are coming up from a club which called Team Flash. They've been playing together for a long time, so chemistry-wise, they are definitely up there as well. But when it comes to them and the rest of the teams, all pretty much in the same boat at first. Nobody knows about everybody else. I mean, they're unsure about all the other teams' rotation. They unfamiliarize themselves from the other team's rotation. But I agree. I mean, confidence is, yes, we can see it actually in play. But there are teams with confidence too, like Team Saudi Arabia do seem a bit more confident with their firepower, aggressively try to be proactively finding those points early on. But they did not ended up right up there.
Well, I mean, they're definitely not up there, but they are farming those points. You know, the goal, the aim of the game right now is to get yourself to top 6. And Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they're doing just that. You know, being able to get a couple eliminations here and there, position themselves in a nice place, work together as a team to gain those points. You know, they got 5th out of this match, but I'm sure overall they are right now top 6. You know, if you qualify to the finals day, you have to be top 8 to make it to Japan. So just being able to survive and kind of follow that pace is definitely what you're aiming for. You don't have to go for first place here. Just make sure you cross the finish line is what it is. And
wow, 40 points
is immense. The difference is too much.
40.
Oh,
that's,
man.
God, and mind you, just to remind you again, this is not their best map yet.
My goodness. Insane. 49 eliminations. It's only the 4th map. We've got 2 more maps to go. I wonder how much points Team Vietnam can just...
I do want to see Team Saudi Arabia have the courage to actually go and face them early on, because they are the teams that actually do have the second most amount of eliminations compared to all the others. I think they are the only one that feels like a bit more daring to just challenge Team Vietnam straight off the bat the moment they let it
100%.
down. Yeah, but they're
like
not willing to
there
do so
was-
yet.
There was one moment where we did see Kingdom of Saudi Arabia get aggressive, and they did manage to take down the Vietnamese squad, but that was kind of at one of the final circles, one of the final stages of the game. So at that point, I think Team Vietnam were already able to kind of garner enough, pretty decent amount of points. But yeah, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia just doing very well here so far to keep themselves alive in the top 6 positions. And I'm excited to see what they can kind of continue bringing in the next couple of maps, because it will be Miramar.
Yeah, after this break, we're gonna head over a different map entirely. Will the tide change? Will it still be number 1 the same team, or will somebody else will show up in a different map? See you guys after this break.
We're down to only 2 more matches remaining here on the very first day of the 2026 Asian Games Esports Qualifier for PUBG Mobile's Asian Games edition. And of course, FaZe, I think it was quite the thrilling ride that we've gotten ourselves into, where the host nation of Vietnam, they're not leaving crumbs for everybody else. And I think it's really safe to say right now that they're definitely moving into the finals with the amount of points that they accrued.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just 79 points over the past 4 games, and we are not even at the finish line just yet. Yeah, they're kind of very far away. 40-point difference between first and second place, but from 6th and 7th place and the rest, there's a 1-point difference right now. Indonesia on 22 points, Philippines at 7th place with 21 points, and then there's Jordan and Kyrgyzstan down below with 19 and 17. So there's chances for Philippines, Jordan, Kyrgyzstan still very, very close, and they're still very doable here for them to tough it out, to make their way to the top 6 spots to qualify for the finals day. But it's going to be a difficult task if Vietnam is just kind of all around the map taking out names. It's just insane.
Yeah, it was absolute chaos as well for the teams who are frantically searching for these points, where every step in the wake of them attempting to garner those points, they were met with challenges coming from multi-directions. If you step a little bit out of line, you're just basically getting a couple of pots being sent your way, right? So that being said, though, I think like the conversation from the middle of the pack all the way down to the teams who are sitting at 12, they do have opportunities, but the opportunities are becoming slimmer as we are only down to those 2 games. So let's talk about potential, right? Because we take a look at some of the newer faces in the global scene, such as Tajikistan as well as Turkmenistan. I think that they're definitely taking their time to adjust to their surroundings, and also the entire global lobby that's been looking absolutely stellar. So the only opportunity for Tajikistan, Sri Lanka, or even Turkmenistan is to score a chicken dinner in one of these rounds, and then after that, maintain the order. And then we take a look at the center of the pack when we talk about the borderline of the 6th spot, which is currently held by Indonesia. You are absolutely spot on that it's only 1 point that separates the Philippines as well as Indonesia at this current point in time. So there's definitely plenty of opportunities out there, and it boils down to this shift of scenery that we're moving into, which is Miramar. And when we talked about Miramar, I think Chuchu has highlighted the best that this is one of the favorite maps of Team Vietnam, where they've absolutely had great stats, just like how we saw back in Wrangell.
Oh yeah, I mean, just looking at the stats down below, those 8 eliminations from Tops himself, and he was just making it look super easy when it came to the long range firepower, the Kobe's from downtown. I mean, yeah, just looking at the overall rankings towards the left side of the screen, this is what we were discussing earlier on. It's very, very close. Remember, the aim of the game hit top 6. So there's definitely still a chance for Jordan, Kyrgyzstan, Philippines. And even though you're Kazakhstan or Indonesia in the top 6 spot, you have to make sure you keep your foot on the pedal. You got to make sure that you keep kind of going for those eliminations. And the placement points as well, very important to deny anyone else from taking your spot instead. And that could happen in a blink of an eye, in one single map. It all comes down to this, man.
It definitely does, as we dive right into our penultimate round of Group A. As we've already seen plenty of action back in the Wrangell, and I believe that when we move into Miramar, we're also seeing tempo shifts as well, because this is by far one of the largest maps playable in PUBG Mobile, where it's a landmass of 86%, I would dare say. I guess like the percentage, I'm pretty close to it.
Pretty much.
Where it's only covered the southern side that's gonna be covered with water, and likely than not, we don't really see too many of all these endings to be circling around those corners of Puerto Paraiso, even Partona per se. So very likely than not, a lot of its teams are eyeing out on securing grounds, especially towards center stage where you have Picado, San Martin, as well as Power Grid to be some of the popular areas that teams will definitely occupy. But overall, we're not really seeing too much of an altercation despite the shift of the map. So maybe if there's going to be any shareable grounds, we're going to be keeping our eyes onto whether if teams are going to take their hands onto a vast area like Los Leones. Did I just jinx it?
You definitely did. This is a disgusting circle. I mean, this is only the first stage, and half of that zone is not even you're not even able to occupy that land. It's basically in the water. This is basically stage 2, stage 3, basically stage 4 almost. You know, it's going to be tough. And we did see 1 or 2 teams, you know, towards the top northwest side of the map. They've got to travel all the way down towards the bottom side of the map. It's going to be quite a journey for them, and I can just only imagine the amount of gatekeeping that's going to be happening. It is this is going to be something else.
I could only imagine. And the fact of the matter is that flight path does not allow majority of these teams to get that direct access into the zone, which makes it even more painful of an experience, right? If they have troubles looking for vehicles, they're going to have a long couple of miles of a walking distance. Of course, in Asia, we still use kilometer. So we'll let our dear observers as well as admins to keep track of their progression overall. But of course, for those viewers who are watching PUBG Mobile here in the Asian Games Qualifiers for the very first time, I think part and parcel of Battle Royale, what makes it really challenging to play, whether it's casually or competitively, is that you're managing resources, you're managing your vehicles and your utilities, and now you gotta play in such a tight spot that we talked about this map being so huge, and it just been brought down to size towards the point that I guess it's kind of familiar for them since they had some challenges back in Wrangle, but this is an entirely different ball game. I do think that whoever gets first dips onto some grounds like Impala by the edge of the beach, that will be the perfect point of hole for them to really survive to the end game.
Oh yeah, 100%. But it kind of depends on who can get there first and whether or not you can get a decent amount of end game loot. So that's the thing when it comes to battle royales. You know, I think 90% of the player base kind of has gone through 10 minutes of looting to make their way towards the zone and just get instantly taken out in a blink of an eye. So this could possibly be one of those situations here for these professional players, you know, representing their region. So I hope you guys are sitting back and making sure that you guys support them all the way through, because they're definitely going to need all the support that they can get. Philippines now, they've got themselves a nice little convoy making their way towards the safer side of the map, in it towards the zone. We'll definitely secure a safe position.
And of course, looking back at their journey in the esports realm back in the PUBG Mobile Challengers League, it's been a great year so far for the team of National, which is Team Philippines is majorly consisting of. They also do have added members coming in from Misfit International. They're definitely no strangers into very, very critical situations where you really got to fend off for every drop of points. And right now, their closest competitor is also a fellow Southeast Asian in the form of Indonesia. So if we compare their form, I think that both have very great firepower when it comes down to strategy as well. I think like you were spot on when you pointed out that Team Philippines, I think like some of the major issues that they were facing was the problem of rotations as well as movements, because they always had like 1 or 2 players getting taken down very early in the midst of it. And in a map like Miramar, I think it's the least likely to happen in the early game. So I think that's good news for the Philippines to recuperate, especially now you could just focus on making sure that you keep yourself safe throughout the terrains.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Team Sri Lanka is doing, keeping themselves safe in the terrains indeed, as you see one of their teammates kind of just driving up the mountainside, and a little bit of fight happening between the two of these regions. Hong Kong, China getting taken down to a little bit of a slightly low HP, but they will be able to kind of heal themselves back up. Just a couple of pop shots to kind of make sure that they're kind of just show some show of strength, you know, scare them away. Yeah, this is my territory, get out of here.
What some of us like to call it is puffer fishing, right? Like you just want to show that you are going to be a threat. You don't want anyone to just come anywhere close. And I believe on the mini screen as well, there was a tag onto Vietnam, and as we're seeing on screen, Tops is over on the hillside, and it's going to be Westron that secures it. So that's going to be a great work coming from Kazakhstan to open up their accounts, scoring one, and that is huge news for everybody else, because Vietnam, they've been raining on everybody's parade, and this time they are just shrinking their manpower for the meantime.
Yeah, definitely. With one of the players down from the side of Vietnam, maybe they're going to be less confident to kind of take these fights, but they're very, very smart and methodical here. Even though they are down numbers, they always end up with these fights. They'll play very patient. They know when is the perfect time to go in for these fights, and they just wait for two different teams to kind of fight it out and go for the third party, beat the third party team to kind of just sweep up 2-3 eliminations, to gain themselves those points. Not that defeated, you know, Team Vietnam is ruthless.
And it does seem like it's going to be a little bit more of a precarious situation for the side of Indonesia, as they're also opting to find a little bit of a safe route in. I do believe that they're in a really good spot at the very least in order to make their passage into where it deems to be the best spot possible, Impala. So they're around the factory grounds, and this is a really good choke point for people to find a spot for them to really get those big numbers to be churning into their territory. And Team Thailand's just going to be able to just hold out for the meantime.
Most of the squad, they make their way towards the bottom side of the map, and the zone shifts towards this, and it kind of leaves everyone scrambling to make their way in towards the zone. It's going to be a lot of movement, and there's a lot of movement. It's going to be a lot of fights. And speaking of coming in big with again elimination, that may be their second point here to take one of the players from Kyrgyzstan.
Beautiful work coming out with the spray. Westron so far has been on the high work ratio, especially when you're playing around the region of Los Leones. It's always going to be a maze because you have so many different types of buildings that you have to sift through. And it does seem like Sphinx has been spotted out by Win already, but decides not to reveal his location just yet. Might have actually missed the opportunity to nap. It may actually be detrimental to the standings, although Vietnam is definitely holding on to that number one spot right now. As for Kazakhstan, 2 added points to be put to the tally for the moment brings them a little bit more comfortable at 5th, which means there's going to be a little bit more of a chasing to do for teams like the Philippines, for Indonesia, and right at this moment, Ragnarok rocks up the hillside. And little does he know that bows have occupied this compound. Does seem like it's going to be a little bit of a patience play coming out of Team Jordan as well. Ragnarok might have actually have an inkling of the said member of Team Vietnam, so they choose not to fully extend right into the office building just about yet. I think that overall, over onto the high ground terrains is where Jordan can still find a little bit of an edge. Speaking of which, XYZ got himself into an accident. He flips over, and that is the worst of timing, especially bypassing the territories of Kazakhstan and Westron. He almost gets that securance as well, but it does seem to be a case where it's just a mishap coming from Turkmenistan that was not being capitalized by Kazakhstan instead. 310. As well as the rest of Kazakhstan, they're soaking in the blue zone for the meantime, and it does seem like it will be a little bit longer before we actually get ourselves into the thick of the foe, since it's only going to be stage 2 for the meantime. Now we're going to get a little bit more of that update of the zone. Kyrgyzstan feeling a little bit more comfortable holding over on the area, but there will be some challenges coming in from Hong Kong, China in a short moment, and it does seem like we have already set our sights onto those open fields where Team Philippines, they're going to have to hunker down onto those flatlands. And maybe if they could just find just enough time, there will be just about enough challengers over onto the edges to keep each other at bay. And then they will have their own openings as well.
Tanking the damage, but luckily for them, still not a lot of damage to be done from these early zones. But we do see Team Philippines kind of squared up inside of this building, and something that they've got to be very, very careful about, because early on when it came to the map of Erangel, they were kind of losing these players early on. This time around, there's still 4 players up and healthy. Win has quite a strong position up in towards this construction building, but he does have to be careful as the zone is slowly closing. He was thinking of picking up 1 or 2 eliminations here, but the rest of the boys from Vietnam will do so, and this is exactly what we're talking about. Getting in towards position, just gatekeeping the zone, these players from making their way in and just getting those points. That's instantly 2 eliminations here for the side of Vietnam, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and my, that is how information gathering rewards teams with
Job. Hong Kong, China making their way in towards the zone from the outside. Quite a few of these players. Sri Lanka has found themselves in a pretty decent spot as well, but while all this is happening, Team Vietnam looking for more action. I guess at this point they don't really have much to lose. They've got all the points in the world, and at this point they don't mind getting aggressive, going for these elimination points and just doing as much damage as they can to shut down the whole
up as it lands onto Amori.
Hold on a second. Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they were in a safe position, but now they are currently having their home seized from the region of Thailand, and they are making it work. Schweppes, Tony K doing big amounts of damage. It's all down to 2 remaining players. We got Marth alongside Wine Moore, but does he have assistance? That is the question. Oh my goodness, this man is just finishing off the dreams of Thailand. This was initially a 2 versus 3, and he's turned it into a 1-on-2 situation, taking down the Thailand region. Just insane.
My, and that was a collateral. It was a very desperate attempt coming in with the Molotov being tossed to the ground. Meanwhile, we go into another battle between Sri Lanka as well as Indonesia being amplified with all these setups, as we do see one member of Sri Lanka go down to Haikal in the close quarters as he's looking to land a tag with his DBS. Not about time just yet, as there is a couple of all these nades being tossed through those windows, and they're being very, very careful with their approach. But meanwhile, on the sidelines, Zilhak arrives in the nick of time, and now in the close quarter, he wins the duel and takes 4 points for Indonesia to push right in front of Philippines once more and creating a big gap of 5 points for the meantime.
Oh my goodness, while all this is happening, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia again having a tough time inside this compound. They keep getting tested, but time and time again, they are just winning it out. It's all down to prestige. Can he close this off? It's a 1-on-2 situation here for him. DBS in hand. He's got to find the elimination at least on one of the down players of Zero. Maldi does come out and he wants to get aggressive. He's found himself some high ground, but from the side, they will take down Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Decent effort here coming in from them. They've secured 40 points total, but will it be enough? Because we can slowly but surely see Kazakhstan and Indonesia slowly firing up and gathering themselves some points here as we make our way to the closing stages of this 5th map.
I'm starting to really become a fan of the KSA members. I mean, overall, you see how exciting they've been playing. They are never shying away from some of the battles, and even when they are outnumbered, you can see that they're never truly outmatched in some of all these battles. They really brought up the fight up against Hong Kong, China overall, because you saw if he wasn't denied that space with the flames being thrown right into the window, then I believe he might have actually held on for a little bit longer. But overall, so far, they've got themselves pretty much well and secured at 40 points for the meantime. So that will not be shaken for the moment until perhaps we see some overtakes happen towards the late game. Kazakhstan's only down to 1 member, so realistically, we're talking about maybe a squad like Indonesia if they can hold on towards that late game. Speaking of the late game, we're also seeing improved survival time coming from both Tajikistan as well as Turkmenistan on the drive-through, and now arriving to the scene. We saw that 2-2 split going on from the side of Team Philippines. Will they now be outnumbered in this duel? There's a couple attacks over onto the side of Laville as he tries to drive his way past as they escape from harm's way. Fusingan now having his vehicle all punctured up, and he's also the next to follow suit. Barot now tries to trade back, but it was a lost cause. He could not salvage his fallen comrade in that sense. So Tajikistan, they nap one, and they could find some build-up from here on out.
While all that was happening, it wasn't actually Tajikistan who was able to get the elimination. It was a player from Jordan and Kazakhstan as well to sweep up those 2 eliminations on Team Philippines, unfortunately. So they had the right idea to go for the rush, to go for the 4 versus 3 situation. They had the advantage, but they were not able to secure the down or the elimination. So just completely unfortunate there for the Tajikistan side. But you can see they're down but not out just yet, but it's a little bit late here in this qualifiers.
It is really looking very rough, especially for Turkmenistan right now, sitting at only 4 points and only with 2 remaining members. And they're also by the edge of the zone. I believe that they played too conservative for the past couple rounds back in Erangel, and it certainly have costed them moving into this penultimate round, where even if you want to make haste to try to start searching for those points, but in truth, right now, the only way that you could basically conserve yourself to gain points is through the survival time alone. But of course, the rest of the teams aren't going to make it any easier for them. As for HKG, I think like this is a team that has been on the up and up from the get-go, and they've always had a lot of smart setups that really resulted in multiple skirmishes win for the side of the region of Hong Kong, China. Speaking of which, we're going to see another update falling through. Jordan is in the best spot possible, directly in the center, and they will take charge from here on out. But take a look at who else is joining them. It's Team Vietnam.
Oh, yeah, and instantly, speak about Vietnam, they pick up their 5th elimination here on Miramar, and they are not looking to slow things down as they have ample amount of ammunition and one of the better spots here towards the top of the mountain range. It's going to be very difficult to deal with them, to kind of to reach out to them at least. And oh no, Haikal did manage to down one of the players from Tajikistan. It hasn't been a great tournament. I can see that there are a little bit of changes in their tactics. You know, they kind of stick together and stick a little bit closer to these fights and try to go for these third parties. But just in that previous third party setup, they were not really able to secure any elimination points, and they're just getting shut down.
Oh boy.
One by one.
And they're just basically full sending it into the territories of Jordan because they got no other option to defend themselves right now. And speaking of which, that's only the buggy for Isma to hold out. I'm believing the fact that Main's got problems of his own, so he's just gonna hightail it to send it right towards the rocks instead. So he's hoping for a little bit of reprieve, but there's none to be found. Chappie lands the final blow, and I believe mathematically it is going to be Tajikistan to not be able to find their qualification marks. But it's been quite the journey for them, a learning lesson here in Ho Chi Minh City. Could it be the same for Sri Lanka? We'll have to wait and see, because there is still potential with those 9 points. Team Vietnam, though, still taking charge from the high grounds, whereas the rest of Team Hong Kong, China, the region itself, are looking for a little bit of a brawl up against Baldove, as the nades are being exchanged from one side to another. It does connect, but this one's coming from Jordan instead.
Somehow, some way, Jordan finds a way in towards a fight. They find a knockdown, but will they be able to secure the elimination? That is the big question. They definitely need the points right now, sitting at 8th place with 22 points. To catch up, they need another 7 points to kind of tie things up to 6th place. So there's still a very big chance here for Jordan or Philippines to slingshot their way to top 6 in one of the final maps. It's very important for them to stay alive, and I think both these two teams know it as well. You can see Philippines taking a much safer approach, trying their best not to really initiate these fights or to continue the longevity of these fights, because if the players from HKG were to call their members for backups, that's definitely going to be a big spell here for Team Philippines. So they are just hightailing it out of there.
Now, Chappie is going to have to take on the rest of Indonesia all by himself. Haikal is not going to let that happen, as he will be able to secure that point for the knockdown member of Turkmenistan. And just like that, easy does it for the side of Haikal. While there is still commotion by the roadside, however, Zilha goes in for the exchange, takes one member out from the side of Team Vietnam. So that's going to be a little bit of a tussle, and when he tries to hold it out all by himself, the grenades are now being prepped from both ends. He's still got the UAZ to drive out of the situation and maybe, just maybe, reach out towards Bose to get him back on track.
Team Indonesia eliminated. HKG still fairly healthy in terms of HP wise, but they are down in terms of numbers. They've got 2 players left, and they are still looking for these fights. They're still looking for these elimination points, because they know second place is they may not be second place for long. They've got to keep up the momentum. They've got to keep up the plays that they've been making and the consistency as well. So far, they have a little bit of a thorn here in the rose, and then by the name of Barode, and he takes down one. He will be managed to get the trade. They will be able to finish him off, but Moldova is here. Moldova does manage to find 1 point at least to secure for the side of Philippines before they get eliminated, and it's all HKG. Look at the remaining teams. Jordan, they've secured themselves top 3, and they are relatively healthy here in towards the map now. 4-on-3 as the final 2 regions going up against each other. One of the top dogs, the bottom of the point system, up against the big dogs themselves, Team Vietnam.
I'm loving this late surge coming in from the side of Jordan, identifying that they know for a fact there's only very little teams left, so they want to secure that top 2 spot. And right now, this is going to be their biggest hurdle up against Team Vietnam. They do have the numbers advantage, though it's going to be Win that they're training up against. Ragnarok, he does not suspect Zeus from the outer layer, but there is that perfect lob that does actually take a chunk of HP bars coming in from the side of Win. Over on the back, the rest of the Jordanians are looking to provide just about enough backup, but they're currently hiding right behind the slopes just to take a little bit more cover. So Bose, he's got to find a magical toss with this nade, and once he does, the floodgates will open, and Vietnam, they're looking for that opening pick.
Yeah, this Bose still has 3 nades to kind of use to his advantage, and the fact that they got the Jordanians, they're stuck in a bit of a sandwich position. These nades can roll down and just do massive amounts of damage, and yes, it does take down Ragnarok. Clever has also been downed from the DBS in the hands of Baos, and it's down to a 3-on-2 situation. Magically, with these nades, these utilities just being thrown out, they've got the uphill advantage. They have the higher ground, and they somehow make it work. Can Lath clutch this out? 1-on-2 for his region. Looking to get close get close to use the DBS to at least delete one of these players. Good for one. Gets the point, does he? Yes, secures the point.
He can actually go for the save right now. And perhaps this might just be them overcoming the hot favorites of the hometown crowd. Vietnam also looking for that revive, but he's just a couple of meters away. So advantage given over the side of Jordan. Now they got to seek out, and perhaps with the uphill vantage point, they will be able to secure their very first chicken dinner as well. Or could this be the hat trick that Team Vietnam has been looking for all this while? This is going to be a nail biter, my friend, but don't count out Zeus just yet, despite the odds. But take a look at his chamber. Only 2 bullets left.
Oh my goodness.
There's only 2. What's he going to do with that?
Oh, he's gonna need a miracle here to survive this one. If he can make it to one of his teammates' bodies and get the loot from them, pick up the ammunition from them, then there's definitely a chance, but he has to be incredibly sneaky about it. This is a tough game here for Zeus to clutch things out. A 1-on-2 situation, and they've got a car to work with. Searching for him, looking for the last remaining player, and he knows it. He's got to make his way to the loot box.
Found him.
Oh no, he's been spotted, and Jordan has secured themselves a winner chicken dinner here for match 5, and that will definitely boost them here in terms of points to make it to the top 6. But this is all not confirmed just yet. We're gonna have to wait for the final standings, but what a game that was from them.
Jordan, they've managed to break the streak of Vietnam and clinch their very first chicken dinner here at the Asian Games. And you can definitely see some huge sigh of relief as well as some confidence regained from this win itself. And we talked about the battle of nutrition, but this is very much the battle of attrition, because you saw there was just too many of all these resources that were slightly mismanaged in a sense from the side of Team Vietnam, where they were just taking too many battles to the point that they know that they do have the potential to really go all out, but it's just that their resources does not allow them. And you can see Win was slightly frustrated, but he knows that, okay, there's not much that can be done towards the tail end in that 1 versus 2.
Yeah, just insane. I mean, they had the right calls. I think it was an insane play coming in from Team Vietnam in that final couple of fights up against the likes of Team Jordan. But yeah, Zeus was just not in that fight. Initially, it was, I think, initially it was a 4v3 if I'm not mistaken. For Jordan, they had the upper hand advantage, 4v2 being the fact that Zeus was so far away. Technically it was a 3-on-4 situation, but Zeus was just nowhere to be found. He was kind of popping shots from long range. The 2 players from the Vietnam were able to kind of thin down the numbers, but Zeus from downtown, it's just unfortunate he ran out of ammunition. There was no loot box here anywhere nearby him to at least kind of gain back the ammunition there for him. But at the end of the day, you've got to be very, very smart when it comes to not only your utilities but also the bullets that you have in the chamber. So unfortunate there for him, but Jordan were just on a roll. They played it super safe, and they were able to kind of get themselves into the final couple of circles without getting into too much trouble, and keeping 4 players alive, just using that advantage to their advantage. And well, there it is, winner chicken dinner there for them.
Yeah, I think it was a beautiful run, to say the very least, right? Because it was not only Jordan that have clinched a massive chicken dinner right here. We saw improvements coming in from Team Philippines to also bounce into the top 4, and also the tenacity of Hong Kong, China overall, where we're seeing them being so consistent round after round, where they've been trying their level best to trail the rest of Team Vietnam, and they still did manage to clinch a top 3 position. When I think like one of the instances of a highlight for them was the battle between themselves as well as Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, because that was almost a 50-50 towards the point that they have got the final player on that chokehold, towards the point that they've been able to best them in that compound. But overall, Great utility usage coming in from across all 4 names listed onto our screens. And I believe that the rest of the party as well, they've been able to gain quite a chunk of points. But we'll make some comparisons here because right at this moment, surely it looks a little inflated since Vietnam is currently the top contender the entire course of the evening with 59, as well as 17 eliminations, which a bulk of it was gained in this round itself. But what's intriguing is the number of healing being done by Jordan is that they were tanking blue zones, they were prioritizing survival time, and look at that. That's 10 minutes 22 seconds spent outside of the blue zone. I think like when they don't need to deal with the blue zone, they look so much better.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, they just get themselves into a secure position, a safe and smart position that they can kind of, instead of being picked off themselves, they're able to kind of pick off a couple of players of different regions across the map. And I think they're kind of maybe learning a little bit from the play style of Vietnam, you know, getting themselves into better positionings and getting those long range fights like we normally see Baos and Zias do. And right now, this is just the rankings here. 10 points here, placement for the side of Jordan, getting that winner chicken dinner, of course. 5 eliminations as well, so that's 15 total points. If I'm not mistaken, that should have put them in towards the 4th place. But man, we had some signs of life though coming in from Turkmenistan and Tajikistan. You know, they kind of changed things up a little bit. They decided not to take too long in terms of loot and kind of join the fights a little bit early, but they were just not ready in terms of the firepower that the other regions were able to kind of bring towards them.
Yeah, it is also pretty unfortunate for Team Thailand as well as Team Kyrgyzstan because they have been quite on the roll back in Erangel for a couple of rounds, but moving into Miramar, this is where we are seeing a little bit of that fluctuation where they didn't really gain all too much altogether. So perhaps this may actually impact them on that overall standings as we take a glimpse right now. So once again, take a look at the borderline. 5th, 6th is only 1 point shy. Kazakhstan has been pushed into that 7th position. That's all due to the fact that Jordan, they've bounced all the way up to tie it together with Team Thailand. And of course, needless to say, the top 3 has been performing absolutely stellar with Vietnam, Hong Kong, China, as well as Kingdom, Saudi Arabia clinching those steps. But right now, it is very, very tough for the competitors here to look for the final chicken dinner. Like, if we talk about chances here, I dare to argue maybe even the likes of Kyrgyzstan, if they land a chicken dinner with high volume of takedowns in a single match, they still have quite the percentage of probability that they could still qualify.
Yeah, definitely. They definitely have that ability in them for sure. I mean, these guys have 15 eliminations in total. Of course, in terms of placements points, it does not look great. That's why they're down there. But they have the firepower to do so. So I would not be surprised if Kyrgyzstan, Philippines, or even Kazakhstan were to just go all out in this final map of the night to kind of just push themselves, if possible, to the top 6 to qualify.
That's true. And of course, we're going to take a little short break. And then when we do come back, we'll bring you to the final match of Group A here in the 2026 Asian Games Esports Qualifier PUBG Mobile Asian Games Edition. And of course, we'll see you soon. Thank you for joining us once again here at the 2026 Asian Games Esports Qualifiers PUBG Mobile Asian Games version, as we bring you all the action here. It's FaZe as well as Contra, and early on we also do have our dear friend Chi taking on the Des as well. So far, it's been quite a significant milestone for all of the teams involved, and as well as for the game itself, PUBG Mobile, to be the only Battle Royale title to be competed in the 20th Asian Games that will be happening in Aichi, Nagoya, Japan. So, FaZe, I think like last round we saw quite the interesting battle between both Vietnam, who was looking for their triplet chicken dinner, or should we even call it turkey by then, with their streak. Finally, that streak has been broken by Team Jordan, who was initially placed at 8th, but because they got that chicken dinner, now they skyrocket through the leaderboards into that 4th position.
Yeah, it's a very super tough for the boys from the Jordan region there. They were able to kind of play it safe. They managed to position themselves in a decent spot, you know, as we're heading in towards the later stages of the circle. And it just kind of shows that these kind of rounds can definitely slingshot you quite a decent amount of points up. And from 8th place, just because of one map, that they've secured themselves a top 4 finish. But the thing is, can they stay there? That is the question, because hot on their heels, you know, we've got Indonesia, we've got Philippines, we've got Kyrgyzstan as well. There's definitely a chance for them to kind of catch up and push them down to the bottom 6 positions here. And you have to be top 6 to qualify for the finals here in a couple of days.
True enough. And of course, when we take a look at the stats itself, we see a great contribution from each respective members of the Jordanian roster overall. I think Ragnarok have always shown his competency when it comes down to global tournaments as such, since he's had prior experiences in the international circuit, and of course they've been able to really make a mark in their Mediterranean circuit back in MENA. So they're definitely showing off what they've got finally, as it was pretty much about time. It came at the right moment, and I do believe that gives them a little bit more reprieve going into this very final match without too much of that pressure of racing up against the rest of the pack. But we still got to keep our eyes out on the rest of the party, because when we bring out this match ranking so far, this was what went on in the last round, where Jordan, they've been able to match not only the strength of Vietnam, but they've also been able to match them in the form of numbers, just 1 point shy, despite the difference of the couple of all these movements. I do believe that we do have a little bit of switcheroo coming in, where Vietnam, they kind of get a little bit of the extra added bonus of point due to eliminations alone.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's where it kind of comes in handy when it comes to eliminations. You know, this, even though they did place second, the fact that they had quite a decent amount of eliminations kind of gathered them enough points to kind of secure that top spot. So you have to kind of keep that in mind. You can't kind of just be lurking around and watching other regions get taken down. You kind of have to get into that action as well to secure yourselves those elimination points, because it's just down to a couple of points. Look at Philippines and Kazakhstan. They're 4 or 5 points away from that top 6 position. If Indonesia were to get taken out early on, you know, this is just hypothetically, then there's definitely a chance for Kazakhstan or Philippines to catch up and make their way towards the top 6. So being Indonesia right now at the border of that top 6 position, you have to make sure this game, you have to survive, and you have to make sure you get as much eliminations and points as possible to defend your slot from the side of Kazakhstan, Philippines, or Kyrgyzstan.
True enough. And overall, when we take a glimpse of the Filipino roster in general, their hopes pretty much up. We still see smiles coming in from each respective members as they're making the last minute preparation for what they will need to implement into this final matchup in Miramar. So this could be their moment right here. And of course, some may walk away as the victors of Group A to qualify into the finals. And of course, for the rest of the party that does not get themselves a qualification it will be a long weekend for them to spend in Ho Chi Minh, but I'm pretty sure they've been able to gain a wealth of experience that they will never forget to bring forward to perhaps the next one. So, of course, the journey goes on, and when we take a look at the potential of the teams that are involved here in Group A, it is limitless, as we are looking at even the likes of Vietnam. In 6 matches, they're about to break the threshold of 100 points, which has never been done by a lot of teams in an international circuit in a 6-round format. And here we go, FaZe. It's about time we go to our last map of the evening, Miramar.
95 total points in the hands of Team Vietnam, looking to secure triple digits, looking to create history, and looking to make their way to the next section here of this qualifiers. Flight path going from the bottom right towards the top left to La Cobreria. The rest of the teams now, it was pretty spread out in that first match of Miramar. This time around, we're going to be pretty much the same. But this is all, it comes down to this map here for a couple of these teams that we've got to keep our eye on. Indonesia, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Philippines, Kyrgyzstan as well. And I think Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they are on 40 points. They've got to step it up a notch, because it's anybody's game at this point here. There's for a fact, we know for a fact HKG alongside Vietnam, there's nobody touching them. It's just these players down here as well to try to keep their tournament lives alive.
Yeah, pretty much that will be the case for Hong Kong, China, as a region that has been stable throughout the entire course of the evening. And for the fact of the matter, they were never really a squad that is flashy to make big plays. And looks like it's a day of opposites here in Miramar, just like how it was back in the previous round. This time, it's going over on the southern side, and I still see some body of water, but very likely than not, if you disregard the riverbank, which a lot of teams would love to play around, Minas de Vals, Chumacera, as well as La Riela, I think it's really all about that high ground terrain that will be values worth for the squads that get themselves booked there early. So on their journey is going to be Philippines that will be securing their loots from Picado. Team Hong Kong China has got the longest route to actually get into the circle, so that will be a concern for the meantime. But like you pointed out, I think the points are sufficient with 51 points, whereas everyone else, they cannot just sit still. They need to really work hard for every drop of points possible.
Yeah, so far right now on camera, we've got Team Sri Lanka not exactly having the best tournament here so far, but I'm pretty sure they themselves are learning a lot. I think earlier Choo Choo pulled up the chat, and a lot of the Sri Lankan supporters are really rooting for their region, their nation, and saying that they need a lot more kills, and I agree. But it's just the fact that you guys were in chat and kind of supporting your region is kind of what it's all about. I'm sure they had the motivation to do so, but man, when you've got these insane teams in a lobby like this, we hope that for the next one they can just learn from this experience and come back a lot more stronger for the next Asian Games.
Yeah, of course, we wish them nothing but the best in every single tournament that they partake in. Meanwhile, we look over onto so many different squads, which we have mentioned to be, star-studded rosters. The fact of the matter is that Thailand has built a squad around E-Arena, and also including a few more coming from other teams as well. You also do have Indonesia, which I felt like there was a lot of hype surrounding the all-star roster of Indonesia, but I felt like they haven't entirely hit the mark of expectation coming into what we at least expect out of them, as they're sitting in the middle of the pack. We're already looking at Turkmenistan getting themselves a couple attacks onto Sri Lanka, taking down 2 players from the get-go. Oh, it goes from bad to worse. It does seem like there's some exchange being given towards Turkmenistan, but it wasn't enough to find the knockdowns that's required from Sri Lanka.
Okay, some signs of life from Turkmenistan. You know, they haven't exactly been the got aggressive or went for these early eliminations. This time around, managed to secure 2 points of them for their own. Who knows, they could go for a miracle run and catch up, but that is depending on how much eliminations that they can gather. If they can get the chicken dinner as well, you know, nothing is impossible here in this battle royale. But still, at least we're getting to see them kind of get warmed up a little bit here in this tournament.
Yeah, I'm really surprised to see a couple of teams to be circling around that Puerto Paraiso region. They're taking that long stretch of a highway to try to sweep in towards the southern portion of the zone, but that may have a ripple effect where you would see clashes such as this. Germany getting caught off guard. Finally, a little bit more of a reprieve for Sri Lanka to back their first point for this final matchup. Maybe there's still more good news for the rest of Sri Lanka. We'll keep our eyes onto them, but that's also tough for Indonesia to digest the fact that they just lost one, which right now they need every single member on deck to try to hold to that spot, because it only takes 4 points for Kazakhstan to look for that equalizer.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they want. We've seen Kazakhstan play fairly well in the past couple of maps, especially on Erangel as well. You know, they were never the top contenders when it came to placement points, but when it came to eliminations, they were basically side by side with countries such as the Hong Kong, China, and Thailand as well. So they are not a team to be reckoned with at all. These guys currently down towards 7th place, but that can instantly jump in the span of the next 10 minutes. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I mean, all these regions, they've been really working very hard to get to where they need to be. Hong Kong, China, in essence, so far, they've been finding that perfect formula of fair share balance of ranking points per round, and also just about enough volume of eliminations per round in order to get by. And the one fun fact to digest from the past 5 rounds is that Vietnam, they have a total of almost 60 eliminations. That's like, you're talking about more than 10 takedowns per round. That is some incredible work rate that I've not seen for a very long time. And if they could do that in the main event, surely we'll see them secure themselves the ticket for Aichi Nagoya. But it looks like there is going to be another commotion here. And that's a big nade landed onto Clever Jordanian's side. They've already gotten their chicken dinner, and you can see that they're getting a little bit feisty as they toss a perfect nade into the window, but that healing came just in the nick of time for him to just hold out Sadia. He's basically soaking everything, including the blue zone, and there's barely enough space for him to work with.
What can you do here, man? If you are Sadia at this point, you kind of just have to take the fight to them, and instantly he does. Manages to at least get 1 point, gets the elimination on the Jordanian team. He will get knocked down, but at what cost? That was insane. That may very likely cost the late game here for the side of the Jordan team. You know, they instantly, once you lose your member, you're not really able to get a revive off or anything. You're just down and out. So going into the later stages of the game with 3 players rather than 4, that might just cost you your tournament. So
yeah,
still on 4th place for now, but you know, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Thailand, they can definitely catch up and push you down the ranks. So he's got to be very, very careful moving forward.
Yeah, I was just basically keeping my eyes onto the leaderboard, because you see teams flashing in blue. That means that they've been spending time on the outskirts for a little while now. The only good news is that it was just stage 2, so the damage isn't all too significant, where it's still pretty much tankable. But if it's going to be that late sweep that these teams are looking for, it's going to be a very risky task for them to really journey up ahead, because they go into the zone without much of an information on who's already booking some of the prime spots. So there's a lot to avoid. I do understand, and you can definitely tell that teams are also taking that defensive stance where they want to be conservative. They don't really want to take risky measures. But at the very same time, if it's going to be a hive mind that does that with a couple more teams, then everyone's basically meeting each other onto some really precarious spots. And the last thing you want is like teams fighting outside the blue zone where nobody's really winning. So I'm hoping that's not going to be the case.
I think it was one of the first matches that we saw. One of the players actually, he was down to the last remaining squad mate himself. It was down to one of the final zones. So instead of giving away a point to one of the rival nations, he actually just stayed in towards the blue zone and just got eliminated by the zone itself to not give a point to either one of the other regions. So I think that's a smart way to do it. But sometimes sacrifices have to be made, I guess.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that it seems to be the case for the less fortunate in some of these scenarios. And that's the beauty of the game as well, where sometimes you win, sometimes you learn, sometimes you just basically get some really, really crazy action that does actually either reward you or maybe punishes you in certain instances. As for the side of Hong Kong, China as well, the last we saw of them, they were kind of lurking around the mid sector, but ever since that zone has closed out, they are also lurking around the blue zone, and they've taken quite a chunk. Speaking of which, Jordanian side, they've of course got that big win, which puts them into a better lead. And initially, when they started off this round, they were just tying it with Thailand. And now, with that 1 point gain, it's safe to say for the time being, if both teams were to bow out at the same spot, then they will still have a slight upper hand. So Indonesia gets themselves into action with a couple of sprays over onto the vehicle. And this is looking really daunting for either party because Indonesia,
look at this flank.
You want to get those points in.
This is a big flank coming in from Haikal, but he does not want to risk anything just yet. He calls a little bit of assistance, kind of gatekeeping Turkmenistan from the circle here, and they want to get those points because right now Indonesia currently 6th place. They have secured top 6, but they need the points. They need all the points that they can get, so they want to get these eliminations as well. Turkmenistan looking for a fight. Does spot out one of the players, but he's taking just too much damage. And there it is, the knockdown coming in for the Indonesian side. Take down one of the Turkmenistan players. That's exactly what you needed. 1 point could be the difference maker here, as it is the final map.
That was such a crucial pick coming from Zilhak, right? Because when we take a look at the minimap, the rest of Indonesia, they were forced to take this bridge to go up against Turkmenistan. So now you see Haikal getting tagged up in the middle of nowhere. I believe there's no saving grace left for him. Chappie on the mark, looking to at least exchange 1 point for another. As that will be pretty much confirmed. Pratama now looking for a late dive coming in from the back, though. It does seem like they want to fully commit to this, but you got to keep in mind, they've only got 2 minutes if they really want to subscribe into a battle. Doesn't seem like Turkmenistan is all too interested in committing much further, so they're going to drive the other way around, wrap towards the hillside, and call it a truce, which I think is a fair shot because overall they've gotten 3 points accrued already. They can definitely play for that late game potential, and if they find themselves with a couple more elimination points, and hey, if the Jordanians have gotten that big leap with just 1 chicken dinner, there's still maybe some hope left for the side of Turkmenistan.
Definitely, but so far, Turkmenistan, they have been a thorn in your finger, on your feet for the side of Indonesia, for the side of Jordan. They were able to take down one of the players early on from the Jordanian team. They took 2 players from the side of the Indonesian team, and those are the teams that are really fighting for their lives right now, fighting for their tournament lives. This is the final game that means so much to them. And these eliminations from Turkmenistan really just put them in a tough position for the late game. And I think Pratama wants some revenge. He's looking for a frag. He's looking for an elimination on towards Leza, but he does do a decent amount of damage, but not going to be able to finish him off.
Ooh, big shots now. As Pratama is just basically forcing the rest of Turkmenistan to just retreat and turn the other way around. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka has been caught out. And of course, we thank them for joining in for our 20th Asian Games qualifier rounds as they finished their hurdle with a total of 12 points throughout their circuit. A respectable run, as that will be the conclusion of their evening. So better luck next time as we continue with the rest of the pack. Now, the Philippines, they got themselves directly in Minas Valley, and that is the playground for our closing round, alongside with the rest of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as well as Thailand in the zone. Meanwhile, we go back into the take of the battle with Vietnam, finding the mark up against Kazakhstan as they've been able to plow through and seek out for more. But Seek, he's just going to be able to trade back, and that forces Zeus to go for that retreat.
He has to fall back. Instantly heals down to about 20 HP. We'll be able to get the heals up. P6 is in a bit of a tough position there, but Baos has found himself cornered. Members from Kyrgyzstan from the top of that mountain kind of just doing so much damage to his vehicle that he's forced to make his way out of there. While all this is happening, Zeus has the information. He wants to go for the flag on towards P6. Oh, hold on a second, Rare. And look at these players from Turkmenistan. They've kind of put themselves in a shack that is very, very flammable. And flammable indeed. As the Indonesian team do manage to get the revenge, do manage to take them out, and do secure at least 5 elimination points here so far. So good here.
I love the retake and the amount of confidence being displayed from the side of Indonesia, where you, as much as their backs were against the wall, against the blue zone, they have been on the hunt, on the prowl, and they've been able to back more and more points. 5 points now added to their tally, and they're climbing all the way up to the top 4 for the moment. But now up against the side of Team Hong Kong China. They managed to get the knock over on the Rare, and I think that the rest of Hong Kong China, they don't really want to commit further. This is not a fight worth committing towards, so he's going to go in to find that resurrection. As Rare, he is pretty much stranded there for quite some time now, so this should be no problem whatsoever. We finally get to see Sin's getting themselves a little bit of playtime, as he's been one of the top players in the European region, and now he's back here with the rest of the Hong Kong China roster. And I think, like, well, it's better late than never to make your mark here in the Asian Games.
Kazakhstan is down and out for the count. They're stuck on 29 points. Thailand is still kind of on that borderline, 34 points, and Philippines is still in it to win it here. So there's a chance that Philippines can get a decent amount of eliminations, get a decent placement to kind of knock Thailand down to that 7th place position. Will they be able to do it? That is the question. But for now, most of the top scoring teams still alive and kicking.
That's right. Meanwhile, for the side of Vietnam, they did definitely suffer a little bit of casualty there with another nade connecting, coming in from Effect that has been so potent on this engagement. And there we go, Effect still trolling onto Bose. Very risky maneuvers, as it's going to be the last stand coming in from Vietnam. And I think they've done just about enough throughout this entire circuit in order to really land onto the top of the podium. But of course, it will be even better if they could finally land into the triple-digit numbers. So I do believe with a couple of eliminations, they might be able to get by already. The zone now shifts further into the high ground terrains. The Philippines waiting for their moment. HKG as well, conquering over onto the eastern terrains. Thailand is also just by the edge over onto the northeastern corner of the map, which will be met with the rest of Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in a short moment. So this top 9 is going to be a very close battle between everybody that's being involved in the field.
Yeah, definitely. In Kingdom Saudi Arabia, we've seen them kind of go in for these eliminations, go look for points. And this time around, they've been very, very quiet. You know, they know for a fact that they don't want to lose too many players. This is a very important game for them. They know how close the scoring point system is. So just keeping 4 members alive and healthy, similar to the likes of Thailand here, could very much change the course of the late game stages. So very, very well played. It's a completely different strategy of of what we're used to for the Saudi Arabians and the Thai players, but it is something that must be done. They want to secure top 6. That is the aim of the game. This is going to be a very interesting fight as we head to the later stages.
Yeah, it's been such a sad news for the supporters of Kazakhstan, as well as the fans that have been rallying on them. They were so close, yet so far. They've dropped out of this matchup with 29 points, where we were keeping our eyes peeled out for them. And now, I guess we can also set our sights onto Kyrgyzstan as well as the Philippines. As we talk about the Philippines, they have been holding onto this high ground for a very long time. And Tajikistan, they've yet to garner any eliminations just yet. And this uphill battle is going to be a really risky task up against the Filipino side. Meanwhile, look at the rest of the party. Jordan, final member in the blue zone. I'm not quite sure if Stage 5 is going to be good enough for him to tank for the moment. If he does have a couple of first aid kits, then maybe he should be able to last for the moment. But for now, it's absolutely safe for the side of Team Philippines to get themselves planted over onto this course. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be any challengers that will be able to rock them out of this way.
Yeah, definitely not. I mean, Team Philippines, they definitely have what it takes to win out the match. They've got the firepower, they've got the skills to do so, and I feel like they've just been very unlucky, or just I think Vietnam has just been a little bit too strong here for them to deal with. But in terms of talent, they definitely have what it takes. And oh, hold on a second, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they do manage to knock down one of the Thai players here. Will they continue to go for the pursuit? Looks like they're getting a little bit closer there. You can see towards the top right of the map, but they don't exactly want to continue the push at all. They just want to make sure they stay safe. They don't want to take any unnecessary risks and kind of just make sure they are in the zone.
Wow. I like the fact that with the North Korean, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they actually garner 50% of control of the zone at the moment, so they don't really have to risk it up against Team Thailand, like you pointed out early on. So the onus is on Team Thailand to push out of their compound, and they've already been marked by KSA for a long time. Meanwhile, speaking of pushes, Clever barely surviving, and he still goes for the trade, and it's Tajikistan with the last stand to take out the Jordanians this time around. But there's still more battles taking place from the outskirts. The third party gets involved. Meanwhile, Hong Kong, China up against Thailand, and they are looking to shred out Mormon. Last member remaining. It's all down to Selja. Can he find the mark on his way down as he is tracking onto Mormon, and he trades back, bring him down to size, and this will be it. The conclusion for Team Hong Kong, China as a region to be at least in the podium steps with a total of 54 points. And this is only a top 8 finish to conclude the final match of the evening.
Oh man, luckily here for the side of Thailand, 3 members were knocked down, but I'm sure they should be able to pick up the rest of the 2 players that have been knocked down. But I don't know, time is of the essence, and I think he has a bit of an inkling that there are watchers in the sky above the mountains. The mountains are watching, and he knows for a fact that this is not safe. Kyrgyzstan going into a fight up against the likes of Team Vietnam. They will get the trade on towards him, and Kyrgyzstan will be able to finish Vietnam off down to 99 points. They could not break the threshold, but Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Indonesia, Thailand, Philippines, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan still alive and kicking, looking to get a decent amount of points here in this final match, and to just get the most out of their time here in Vietnam.
And you take a look at this, the Jordanian side, they've been suffering casualties, and they finish off at 6 points, at 6th place at the moment. So it's really down to the Philippines to try to form an overtake with potentially 6 points, and if they do make it to the top 4, that 6 points might just be absolutely feasible. Zerish now getting all the attention given from the side of Team Thailand, and they will be able to get that clean finish. Now, on to the top 5, and the rest of the remaining squads that are still inbound, they could be soaking in a bulk of income in the form of rank alone. So it's all about at least finishing into the top 3 for the side of Philippines. And perhaps that should be sufficient for them to try to form that overtake up against Jordan. But where are they going to find those points right now? They are getting themselves pretty much in a good state where they're uncontested. And you can see Prestige and the rest of KSA, they're drawing some lines there, some boundaries into the upcoming zone, and this is definitely going to be the next big task for the Philippines to overcome. Meanwhile, for the rest of Thailand, once they've been able to bounce back, so they've been on a long exchange for at least a good 6 minutes by now, and I pretty much am sure that they both know on each other's current locations, at least in the close proximity. There we go. Turning K with exchange, and he gets the upper hand. Joker with the backhand flank, looking for more up against KSA.
That is a big a trade there coming in from Joker from long range. Schweppes is going to be able to comfortably at least get the elimination point there on towards Marth, but the rest of the KSA squad are just ready and waiting, looking on the prowl to kind of assist to stop this aggression from Team Thailand. Right now, 38 points is the number to beat to secure top 8, and Philippines is just 3 points away. Can they make it work? But for now, 4 players still alive and healthy, looking for those points wherever they can find it. Thailand and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they are looking to get aggressive here from Thailand. A big flank here coming in from Joker. They do hear the steps from Joker. They get the nice little nade there, damage on towards him. That stops him for a second. That stops the push, stops the aggression, and it's just a bombardment of nades from the Thai squad on towards KSA. It does take down Enjoy down to about 1 HP if I'm not mistaken. He's still alive. Just trying to get the heals here. A little bit of damage is all it needs to be done, but no, he's still up and ready to look for more action. Big shots there coming in. Mini 14, did he get the knock? That's the question. I don't think so. Tons of damage being done here, and they just overrun the mountaintop, and they take over the position.
Team
of the
Thailand,
Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
they're just absolutely putting their pedal to the metal, and they're just running their course up against Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Only 2 members remaining, but they are dangerously low. Leonilo finds the mark, finds the target, takes down Tajikistan, and now they're in the top 3, and perhaps a chance at the chicken dinner as well. Team Thailand, they sweep it clean up against Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and now we have an all-out affair between both Southeast Asian squads, Philippines versus Thailand, for the dinner.
Oh man, I'm not sure whether or not Philippines has crossed the threshold yet to secure their top 6. I think with this placement, there's definitely a chance here, but they will need to secure this chicken dinner to secure their top 6 finish, to make their way in towards the finals to qualify for Japan. Can they make it here? Thailand, they have been a menace. They currently have 7 elimination points, 47 total points, 3rd in this group, and they are not slowing down just yet.
It's all about bragging rights as well. You want to hit home and say, I've won a chicken dinner at the Asian Games, and I believe Thailand, they've already gotten one. The Philippines are definitely hungry for some as well, but more importantly, they won that slot, that qualification into the finals this Sunday, and it looks like Schweppes, he found it. And right now, it seems like Fusingan, he's stranded out in the open. He tries to bait out some shots, but the rest of his teammates were nowhere close to interact with his actions as well. So this is now advantage given over to Thailand.
Oh, 100%. I think it was they had a decent amount of nades here from the side of Philippines, but with that player getting knocked down early, I think he was holding a good 3 or 4 nades in his hands, and now it's going to be a little bit of a tougher time to kind of contest the players on top of the hill, but they're making it work. Boltova coming in for the run, looking for the attack, spots him just throughout the smoke, but whips out the nade instead. just unfortunate timing, and 30k will secure a knockdown on towards Moldova and alongside Bardova. What can you do if we hear Philippines just stuck in a shack? And there it is, Thailand secure their second winner chicken dinner. Incredible performance. Certainly the kings of the hill.
Absolutely sublime coming in from the finalists of Thailand. The land of smiles now rejoice as they've already planted themselves into the grand finals with that double chicken dinner that they've just secured within a span of 6 matches. And of course, by the time they hit to the finals, they'll look for that rematch up against Vietnam, where they are definitely one of the strongest contenders out there. But the biggest question remains here: who makes it into our Sunday round of our qualification run? And of course, tomorrow it's gonna be Group B that will be taking themselves to the stage to get themselves some action as well. So I hope that with the bar now being set up high, can the rest of Group B also pack the punch and put it even more, because that's 99 points that we saw coming out of Vietnam. And right now Thailand are also making their surge here in the late game, and the man of the hour was Mormon with some huge numbers in the form of damage and elimination points.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, this guy was just insane. 515 damage, not too shabby. I think it's pretty much spread up pretty evenly across the board, because we did see Schweppes earlier, you know, being able to get that one of the final knocks on towards the player of Team Philippines. These guys are just a force to be reckoned with, you know. Earlier on, this is Southeast Asia, and they are known to be having that firepower, that skill to kind of shoot from long range. And yeah, just looking at the stats, the amount of utilities that they had available, they definitely used that to their advantage when it came to getting towards the top of those hills, fighting up against the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to secure that top of the hill position, to secure that chicken dinner. So incredible team performance there overall. 40 kilometers traveled is just insane. But of course, this is a pretty massive map. You can see that kind of spread across the board pretty evenly. But Tajikistan, you know, they were very, very quiet for the past 5 maps, and they decided to just show up here and show up in this final map to be such a pain for the rest of the squads. You know, finally some signs of life from Tajikistan. I think that they were able to kind of find their footing a little bit too late, but I think when it comes to the next Asian Games, you know, they'll definitely do so a lot better for sure.
Indeed. And of course, when we make comparison between the final 2 teams that were surviving in that last run, we are definitely seeing them having pretty much similar stance on how they like to take positions, as well as how they love to take fights in a close to mid-range battle. And what's interesting to also note is that Thailand has taken plenty of time healing, either if it's time spent in the blue zone, or maybe they just succumb themselves into too many battles that they gotta have that inventory to have plenty of first aid kits as well as band-aids in order to keep themselves floating into the match. Whereas the Filipino side, the Team Philippines, they've been pretty much elusive. So the total healing is only 328 in comparison with, you know, the rest of the party that has majority spent a lot of time in the blue zone. So I'm liking for the fact that overall, you know, these 2 teams, they prefer to be within safe proximity around those circles rather than on the outskirts.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just a lot of different play styles that we've been seeing here throughout the day. We've got Tajikistan, we've got Turkmenistan, and I think it was Sri Lanka as well. You know, they were a lot more passive when it came to these 6 maps. You know, looting, trying to get into the circle very last minute, and kind of gain points in terms of placement. But you know, when it comes to the home soil players of Ho Chi Minh City, they don't really care about how much points they get in terms of placements. They're here all about those elimination points. But this time around, though, we do get Thailand getting first place here for the side of this match 6. 11 total eliminations and 21 total points all overall. That's 2 chicken dinners here for them. So props to them. I think being if I were in Group B right now, I would definitely have to watch out for Thailand as well.
Yeah, I think like with Indonesia securing 8 points, they would be in a safer spot as well. So we'll have to really look at the overalls. And the big news of this matchup was the Philippines making it into the top 2. Those 10 added points. Is it enough? Oh, it's a tie. It's a tie between Jordan and the Philippines.
Jordan had the winner chicken dinner.
Oh, heartbreak for the team of Philippines. They were short of at least 1 point in order to make the cut, and it seems like that was not enough. They needed the chicken dinner up against Thailand, then that would have been it, or just one more elimination point from that battle and they would have made the cut. Such a sad news, but of course, elations for those who have made it. Congratulations to Vietnam, Thailand, Hong Kong, China, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and I do believe Indonesia is also going to be partaking in the final run over on a Sunday to see if they will get those tickets for Aichi Nagoya for the 20th Asian Games happening in Japan. Face, I believe it's been a long day out for all of our dear audiences, as well as for all of you guys who have spent a lot of time with us. Now it's about time for the host to take the stage to close off day one.
Finalists have been decided.
Xin chúc mừng Việt Nam,
Congratulations to Vietnam,
Thái Lan,
Thailand,
Hồng Kông, Trung Quốc,
Hong Kong, China,
Ả Rập Xê Út,
Saudi Arabia,
Indonesia
Indonesia,
và Jordan.
Jordan.
Và chúc mừng cho các đội tuyển đã xuất sắc vượt qua thử thách đầu tiên của vòng loại Asian Games 2026, nội dung PUBG Mobile.
These six teams have earned a place in the finals and moved one step closer to achieving their dream of competing at Asian Games 2026.
Và như vậy là ngày thi đấu đầu tiên của vòng loại Asian Games 2026 nội dung PUBG Mobile đã chính thức khép lại. Một lần nữa xin được chúc mừng cho 6 đội tuyển xuất sắc nhất đầu tiên của chúng ta đã giành quyền góp mặt vào trận chung kết vào ngày 21 tháng 6.
And with that, day one of the 2026 Asian Games Esports Qualifiers, PUBG Mobile Asian Games version has officially come to a close. Once again, congratulations to the six teams who have grabbed the tickets to the finals.
Với các đội tuyển còn lại thì hành trình ngày hôm nay của họ có thể dừng lại. Thế nhưng những màn thể hiện trong suốt 6 ván đấu kịch tính vừa qua chắc hẳn đã để lại những dấu ấn tích cực đối với tất cả khán giả.
As for the teams whose journey ends here today, thank you for your determination, your competitive spirit, and the performances you delivered on this stage.
Và một lần nữa chúng tôi xin được cảm ơn toàn bộ các tuyển thủ và các quý vị khán giả đã đồng hành cùng với chúng tôi trong suốt ngày thi đấu hôm nay. Hẹn gặp lại tất cả quý vị vào ngày mai, nơi mà 11 đội tuyển còn lại sẽ bước vào cuộc tranh tài để cùng xác định những tấm vé còn lại hướng đến trận chung kết. Còn bây giờ xin kính chào tạm biệt và hẹn gặp lại.
Our sincere thanks to all players and viewers for joining us throughout today's competition. We'll back tomorrow as the remaining 11 teams enter to the battle for the last spot in the final. Until then, thank you for watching. Goodbye and we'll see you tomorrow.